To begin our story, please join Miss Manhwa as we follow Kim Jin, an elite agent of the North Korean National Intelligence Service. During an overseas mission, immediately after completing his task, he receives shocking news from his superiors that his daughter back home has encountered a serious problem. Without hesitation, Kim Jin immediately requests leave and takes the nearest flight home. As soon as he sets foot in the airport, he doesn't go home but rushes straight to the hospital. There, he is stunned to see his daughter lying motionless in a hospital bed, her body bruised and her spirit so broken that she no longer recognizes anyone. His mother tearfully recounts that the girl was drugged with alcohol by a group of male acquaintances and taken to a deserted forest for gang rape. They discarded her like a worthless object and fled, leaving her in a life-threatening condition. Although the incident has been reported, Kim Jin quickly realizes a truth more disgusting than the crime itself: the impotence of the legal system. Thanks to their money, family influence, and their parents' blatant cover-ups, those criminals remain untouched by the law, even defying public opinion. At that moment, Kim Jin felt he only had one choice: to take action himself. When he realized the law couldn't punish the criminals or the parents who enabled them, Kim Jin decided to take matters into his own hands. This time, justice will be served by him. Please like this video to support his journey of revenge. The scene opens with an ominous dark sky over a mountain near Heilongjiang, China, hidden behind a misty haze. At an old but seemingly cleaned-up house, a car is parked nearby. Inside the car, someone is reading a newspaper about scantily clad models and lustfully exclaims, "Wow, super sexy." They break into a sinister smile. The car remains still. Then footsteps approach the car. Looking in the rearview mirror, I was puzzled. A strange man in a sharp suit was approaching. Kim Jin swiftly pulled out his cane. The guy in the car stuck his head out and asked, "Who are you?" Before he could react, he was stabbed fatally in the eye. The passenger quickly opened the door to escape, but Kim Jin climbed onto the roof of the car and caught him. Kim Jin quickly delivered a kick straight to his face, and so, a piercing scream echoed through the silent night. He lay there in silence, his eyes filled with tears. His work done, he quietly left. Suddenly, something caught his attention. The chilling wind only added to the weight of the night. A man was sitting on the roof, silently holding a newspaper. Seeing Kim Jin staring, he reluctantly put the paper aside. The old staircase creaked. The guy shouted, "I told you to keep watch. Why are you back already?" A strange shadow appeared, startling him. "Who the hell are you?" He jumped up, grabbing his stick warily. "How dare you come in here? Get out!" Just then, at the mahjong table, two people were still playing happily. The noise outside caught the attention of those inside. The leader lazily ordered, "What's going on? Someone go check it out." A subordinate complied. "Yes, sir." Having received the order, he quickly grabbed a stick, opened the door, and stepped out, bored with the game. The boss turned to the two battered hostages on the ground. "Hey, you two," then glared menacingly. "If you even open your mouths, I'll rip your guts out. Got it?" The two didn't dare disobey, fearfully nodding in agreement as the dim light hanging from the ceiling recreated a silent atmosphere. Suddenly, there was a strange, loud banging on the door for no apparent reason. He became alert, quickly grabbed the gun on the table, and asked urgently, "What's going on, Yangchen? Answer me." There was no answer, only strange noises in response. Now he was starting to get scared. "Yangchen, if it's you, answer me." From behind the door, a cold voice said, "Yangchen is dead." He jumped, his heart skipping a beat. Without thinking, he fired continuously forward. "Who are you? Die!" It seemed everything was blocked by that damn door. Seeing no movement, the gun stopped firing, and smoke billowed out. He stood there in fear for a long time. The door remained completely still. Then it slowly opened, signaling that something bad was about to happen. As soon as he saw the strange sign, he immediately opened fire, ordering, "Die!" After a few shots, he stopped, or rather, he ran out of bullets. A voice rang out, staring at the gun. "The Type 54 magazine holds 9 rounds. You should always count your bullets when you shoot." Seeing Kim Jin rushing towards him, he quickly kicked over the table to defend himself, scattering mahjong tiles all over the floor. Kim Jin quickly got past everything and turned to deliver a kick. He didn't have time to react and immediately took a blow to the chest. The kick sent him flying dozens of meters. Panicked, he quickly reached into his inside pocket, and in a flash, the bullet was loaded. Unfortunately, before he could fire, he was stabbed in the chest. A startled scream echoed through the air, and the gun fell from his hand, hitting the ground. He lay there writhing and groaning. "Damn it. What the hell?" Kim Jin calmly looked over at the battered hostages. The man in the white shirt exclaimed, Kim Jin used the knife to cut the ropes. The bodyguard turned back and forth, thanking him profusely, asking, Thank you so much. Are you all right, Senator? He politely extended his hand. Thank you, I owe you my life. Kim Jin didn't reply. He just uttered one word, wallet, making him grimace. Huh? Seeing that, he added, money. Only then did he understand. Oh, of course, you deserve it. How much do you want? As he took out his wallet, Kim Jin snatched it all. Huh? He stammered, reaching out to grab it. My credit cards are in there. Kim Jin turned back and threw him a strange remark. Just consider yourself lucky I only took the wallet. The bodyguard, enraged, shouted, What? How dare you be so brazen? Do you know who he is? He's Assemblyman Ingu Seo. He's running for the National Assembly next year. Hearing this, he paused for a moment and then stated the damning truth. A guy who got kidnapped while trying to sleep with a woman on a business trip is planning to run for the National Assembly? I see. Before he could finish speaking, he quickly grabbed him by the collar. With just one hand, he lifted Ingu Seo's entire body off the ground. Oof! The bodyguard angrily scolded. Hey, what are you doing? Let him go! Finding him too annoying, he punched him squarely in the face, sending him flying. While Ingu Seo is suffering here, I'm warning you, you better not run for parliament, or I'll kill you right here and now. Got it? To save his life, he had no choice but to agree, and, just waiting for that, Kim Jin let him go. Then he left, leaving Ingu Seo terrified. Before he left completely, Ingu Seo pleaded, Wait, what's your name? Kim Jin didn't care. He opened the door. He quietly left quickly. And the only response was the sound of the door closing without a word. The next morning at the South Korean embassy in Beijing, a small sign hangs in front of the main gate, and inside. The hallway is quiet. Deep inside is the information management room. Someone opens a newspaper to follow the news. 2 Koreans kidnapped in China have been freed after 5 days. Ingu Seo's picture is clearly printed. Even the newspaper articles about him calling for a demonstration. After reading it, Hook folds the newspaper, relieved. Luckily, the article doesn't mention us. I'm sorry for giving you a task like this, Jin, but I have no one else. You did a great job. Without replying, Kim Jin reached into his pocket, took out the wallet from yesterday, and placed it on the table. Hook looked surprised and confused. What's this? Kim Jin replied with a hidden meaning. A bonus for cleaning up the mess. Hook understood and nodded with a smile, asking, You bought something for yourself, right? Subscribe to Miss Manhwa to see where Kim Jin's journey will take him. Kim Jin explained the problem he was having. Unfortunately, I can't use credit cards here, the man replied. I understand. Hook stood up, ending the conversation. This ends here, and your daughter's name is Suhi, right? Your mother called headquarters and said something happened to Suhi. I'll give you a week off, go back to Seoul. Those words cut into his heart like a knife, and Kim Jin boarded a plane the next day. Everyone was settled in their seats. A text message appeared on his phone from Suhi. Daddy, when are you coming home? Don't forget to buy me a present. Hehe. Kim Jin replied, I think I'll be back at the beginning of next month. I won't forget the present. Love you, my princess. She repeated the message. Love you, my princess. After a few more exchanges, Kim Jin seemed panicked. What's wrong? Honey, tell me, what is it? Suhi, are you okay? He scrolled through with a troubled expression. The beautiful flight attendant gently reminded him. I'm sorry, sir, but texting and calling are prohibited on the plane. Kim Jin quickly put away his phone. Oh, okay. He tilted his head and stared into the distance. Outside, there were only clouds and more clouds. In the blink of an eye, the flight landed. People are bustling out of the airport. Kim Jin anxiously calls, Mom, is Suhi okay? She's not reading my messages. We don't know what the other end said. But Kim Jin's eyes widen in shock. He accidentally sees the affectionate father and son, and his heart aches. Okay, I'm coming to the hospital right away. I'll be there soon. Kim Jin hangs up, his eyes still glued to them in fascination. The car speeds down the road, and inside, he keeps looking at his wallet. It's a picture of his family, his mother and his little daughter. Kim Jin was heartbroken and devastated. His eyes were fixed on little Suhi. It wasn't until he got to the hospital that he realized her condition was worse than he'd imagined. The sight of her shocked him. He looked over at her grandmother, who was crying for her granddaughter, and whispered, How did things turn out like this? Soonja groaned in pain. Suhi, on the hospital bed. Suhei lay unconscious, breathing heavily from exhaustion, her face covered in bruises. Her grandmother recounted. Some kids at the church attacked her. Kim Jin was shocked. What? Kids at the church? Since when? She was sobbing and trembling that Sunday. At the apartment complex, she said she was meeting someone after the afternoon service. A happy family photo of the 3 of them hung on the wall. hard-working hands washing dishes. Sunja turned around and asked, "With whom?" Suhei, getting ready in front of the mirror, said, "Sungjai." She looked at herself. "He's taking me to a movie and then dinner." She approached her. "Sungjai? That shady-looking high school kid?" Suhei retorted. "He's not shady. He's cute." "Sunja's going with him?" Ch. "What's so great about him? He looks shady. I'm worried about you two being alone together." "Grandma, don't worry. Seo-kun and some other friends are going too." Suhei turns around. Seo-kun is the pastor's son. "Are you relieved now?" She puts her hands on her hips. "All right. Be careful. Don't go to secluded places with them. Got it? Are you listening?" The girl covers her ears. "Enough! I heard you the first time. You don't need to keep repeating yourself." Sunja hits her. "What did you say?" Suhei yells. "Ow!" The girl waves goodbye. "You're not angry, are you? I'll be back early. Don't worry." "If I knew this would happen, I wouldn't have let her go," she recounts. Afterwards, it was past midnight and she still hadn't come home. Sunja is pacing back and forth. I called her, but she didn't pick up. The clock showed almost 4 o'clock. I tossed and turned in fear. I froze. At 4 in the morning, the police called me. What they said was terrible. Headlights shone on Suhi's body. The car braked suddenly. "Suhi!" The driver panicked when he looked outside. The girl, her body battered, dragged herself along. "Help!" They found her naked on a mountain road. His hands clenched tightly. Kim Jin was shaking with anger. Soon bowed her head, and then Mother heard people talking. The brats at the temple forced Suhi to drink alcohol and dragged her into the mountains. One of them, a brute, swung his fist and held her tight. They held Suhi down, beat her for resisting, then took turns raping her and ran away. After that, she was forced to do what she didn't want to do. This horrific scene will probably haunt her for life. Suhei fainted in utter helplessness and fear. She was naked. The shadows of demons in human form watched. The leaves rustled. They left her unconscious in the middle of the forest. I grit my teeth. They're worse than animals. Those scumbags. Suhi slowly wakes up. She moves her head. Suhi turns her head towards Kim Jin. He quickly gets up. "Suhi, can you see me, sweetie?" Even with a tube in her mouth, she whispers, "Dad." Kim Jin takes Suhi's hand. He smiles gently. "Yes, Daddy's here." Kim strokes the bruised face. "Are you okay, honey?" "My princess." A family of 3 reunited in a difficult situation. In the hospital hallway. Dr. Chang Jinli's office. Suhi's test results. As you can see, the patient has a concussion, 2 broken ribs, a fractured cheekbone and jaw, and various other injuries. He explains, physically, she'll recover with time, but the mental shock is more concerning. Jinli turns. Victims of rape as teenagers suffer the most severe trauma. X-ray images. It leaves her with a deep psychological wound, because her personality and self-awareness are still developing. The shock is even deeper and more devastating than it is for adults. The woman curls up. The victim will be in pain and angry with themselves. The fear of people makes it impossible for them to live normally, gradually becoming agitated and prone to violence. He crosses his arms, and in more severe cases, it can lead to borderline personality disorder or attempts at suicide. He asks, "Can it be cured, doctor?" Jinli replies, "I'm not sure. This type of trauma leaves a lasting impact and is very difficult to fully recover from." Kim Jin is silent. Sadness, guilt, resentment, and anger will follow the victim into adulthood. He looks up, and there's something even more important. He looks sympathetic. "This is a sensitive issue, but you should know this." Jin Lee glances at the computer. "Your daughter's vagina, uterus, and anus were all damaged." His words strike Kim Jin like lightning. More tests are needed, but it's likely she won't fully recover as a normal woman. He sits with his head in his hands like any ordinary woman. What did the doctor mean? That she can't have children? Kim Jin is shrouded in the darkness of the hallway. "Yes, I'm very sorry." He trembles and sobs. The most important thing for her recovery right now is family support. Night falls. If her parents seem too shocked or distressed, she might be afraid to talk and completely shut down. In the taxi, because children rely on their parents to feel safe and protected. "I know this is hard for you, but your daughter is suffering even more. The first step to recovery is to comfort her and give her the strength to open up." Kim Jin stares blankly out the window. "You probably understand better than I do." He stops. "Oh, the police also told me to tell you to stop by. In front of the police station. Even though it's late, you should still go. In the office." Kim Jin offered his business card. "I'm Jin Kim." The police officer took it. "I'm Heo Samsu with the Violent Crimes Unit. Please, have a seat." He replied, "Thank you." He held out a pack of cigarettes. "Do you smoke?" Kim Jin declined. "No, thank you." Heo Samsu put a cigarette in his mouth. "Please excuse my rudeness. I've been so busy." I haven't had a chance to smoke. He lit it. Detective, he spoke up. Are the perpetrators here? I want to see their faces. Heo Samsu was taken aback. Oh, they're not here. Kim Jin was stunned. We arrested them, but released them without detention. You get angry, arrest them, and then let them go? Isn't that only for minor offenses? Kim Jin is questioning. They lured a minor, committed gang rape, and even abused her. Shouldn't they be detained in a case like this? He sighs. Heo Samsu scoffs. I'm sorry, but I think you're mistaken about who's in charge here. I'm the lead investigator on this case. He raises his hand. We already know where they are, and since there's no risk of evidence destruction, the lead investigator has the right to review the file and decide to let the suspects go home. Heo Samsu puts out his cigarette. If the prosecutor's office thinks I'm wrong, they can request the suspect's detention, and then they'll have to be detained. You understand? He takes another drag. And you can't arrest and detain people based solely on the victim's testimony without evidence. We need clear evidence to arrest them. He stares intensely at Heo Samsu. Besides, a lot of women lie these days. He raised his hand to explain. I'm not talking about your daughter. I mean, there are a lot of spoiled teenage girls who want to exploit boys for money by scamming them, so we have to remain neutral in the investigation. Heo Samsu continued. Speaking of which, girls are just as responsible for the crime as the boys. Why is she dressing so revealing, drinking, and hanging out with boys until late at night? She's so young to be acting like that. Kim Jin's fist clenched until it trembled. Instead of studying, she's just chasing after trends. Tsk, tisk, he said through gritted teeth. Are you... Kim Jin's face was filled with resentment. Are you blaming my daughter? He scoffed. A minor drinking and coming home late isn't something to be proud of, is it? Heo Samsu opened a drawer. Anyway, I called you here because this person represents the suspect and their family. He handed over a business card. He wants you to contact him. That's Jia Young-jo's name up there. Heo Samsu frowned. Those boys' parents have power. He advised me to let bygones be bygones and try to reconcile, saying it's the best thing for my daughter. Do you think that's right? He looked away from the business card and glared. Heo Samsu tensed up. I was just giving you some friendly advice. Don't look at me like that. At a building. The office opens. The employee gets up to greet him. How can I help you? Kim Jin. Reporting for my 11 o'clock appointment with Mr. Ju. Her name tag says Suhee Han. Oh, one moment, please. She goes to knock on the office door. What is it? Han Suhee opens the door. Your 11 o'clock appointment is here. He adjusts his glasses. Oh, send him in. Yes, sir. She gestures. Please, come in. Inside, some big shots are waiting. Jae Young looks very serious. The woman next to her grimaced, and one of them scrutinized Kim Jin before sighing in relief. Scarface ignored him and blew on his coffee. While Assemblyman Ingyu Seo glanced at Kim Jin, he calmly observed them all. His eyes widened. Ingyu Seo was horrified to see Kim Jin. He choked and coughed. The guy immediately handed Ingyu a handkerchief. Are you all right, Assemblyman? Here. Scarface, and he made eye contact. Suddenly, the aunt stood up, bewildering the others. She approached Kim Jin. This aunt stopped in front of him. She gritted her teeth, disgusted, while Kim Jin didn't understand what was going on. The aunt suddenly raised her hand and slapped him, sending his glasses flying. His glasses fell to the floor, and Kim Jin was grabbed by the collar as she said, My son's life has been ruined because your daughter seduced him. She angrily shouted, You wretch! My son's life has been tainted because of this. If something happens to him, will you take responsibility? Tell me. He stared coldly at the aunt, as if he wanted to devour her whole. Kim Jin's cold gaze didn't waver. Terrified, she released her grip on him. The aunt was so startled, she collapsed to the floor. The man who was sitting next to her stood up. Minister, he helped the aunt up. Are you all right? Kim Jin frowned. Minister, she pointed at him and shouted. Look at the way he's looking at me! How dare he? The man anxiously asked. Are you okay? The aunt began to falsely accuse him. This is absurd. I'll sue you and your daughter for defamation and slander. He tried to mediate. Calm down. Let's go outside and get some air, even when pushed away. She stubbornly turned back. You want to kill me? You bastard? You think you're so tough just because I'm a woman? He picked up his glasses that were knocked off. Do you know who I am? I'm Lee Young-yong. How dare that pathetic pig glare at me? You picked the wrong person today. The other man tried to calm her down. Please, calm down, the old woman shouted threateningly. I won't give up easily. Just wait and see. I'll make you regret this, he grumbled. Why do we have to put up with this because of a drunken girl who spread her legs? Kim Jin glared back at the two men who had left the room. He suspiciously observed. He looks like a man from China. He turned around when the voice spoke. Excuse me. The man politely greeted him. Please, have a seat, Jae Young said directly. We don't have much time, so we'll get straight to the point. You'll receive a considerable sum, so please withdraw your lawsuit. Kim Jin remained silent, but the veins on his face bulged. Speak up. You're rotten to the core. He frowned. What did you just say? Kim Jin placed his hands on his thighs. Excuse me, but shouldn't you apologize before giving me the money? He frowned. No matter how powerful you are, acting like this isn't decent, is it? Jae-young smirked. Decent? He took off his glasses. You still have a lot to learn. Kim Jin remained calm. Hey, Jae-young exuded an aura. Power is the law in this land. One law for the rich, another for the poor. Haven't you heard that before? He was enraged by his reasoning. Jae-young maintained his contemptuous attitude. The other two observed Kim Jin's expression. You know, it's pretty rude for a prosecutor to talk like that. He takes something out of his pocket. Kim Jin threatens. What if I leak this online? Jae-young laughs. Leak it online? Go ahead. He pulls out a pack of cigarettes. I have all the press in my pocket. Whatever you do is useless. Even if it gets out, it'll be buried by celebrity gossip. Jae-young puts a cigarette in his mouth. You think this will go to trial? Listen to me. I'm the chief prosecutor of Korea. If I decide not to prosecute, there's nothing you can do. Everyone was silent. Not a word was spoken. He took the business card. Look at this. It's Kim Jin's business card. You're a sales manager at a trading company, right? Jae-young threatened. Just one call to the tax office and I can destroy your company in South Korea. Everyone has something to hide. He then advised, I'm sorry, but you shouldn't try to go against me. Just do as I say. Jae-young put a cigarette in his mouth. I can get you fired in a heartbeat. That's how powerful I am. He was silent. This isn't a threat, I'm just stating a fact. He put out the cigarette. You know how the world works, so know your place. Jae-young relies on his connections. It's the only way to survive without money or power. He stood up. I just wanted to say that. Kim Jin glanced over. Think carefully. At the office, he sat at his desk. A homepage appeared on the computer screen. Kim Jin pondered, then turned away. He looked at his family photos. Kim Jin stares intently at a photo of his wife and daughter. Those bastards at the church attacked her, damaging her vagina, uterus, and anus. He painfully recalls their words about his daughter. A minor drinking and coming home late isn't something to be proud of, is it? My son's life has been ruined because your daughter seduced him. Jae-young looked down on him with contempt. Power is the law in this land. Kim Jin bitterly grits his teeth. He frantically types on the computer. Kim Jin enters the codes and completes the process. The computer displays categories, and he looks away. On the desk is the business card of that pig cop, Samsu. Kim Jin enters his name. Suddenly, his phone rings. Kim Jin answers and puts it on speaker. The other end announces a login detected from a new IP address. Heyo Samsu's information is displayed on the computer. To confirm it's you, please press 1 after the beep. He clicks on his financial records. If it's not you, please press 2. Kim Jin presses 1 as instructed. Beep. Heyo Samsu's funds are displayed. Confirmation successful. Thank you. He's paying attention to a sum of his money. The cash flow in the bank, the agricultural bank, is over $20,000 while the other places only have a few hundred. Kim Jin clicks the mouse. Let's take a look. Money transactions of Heyo Samsu. He clicks on the largest sum. The sender is Han Soo-hee. Kim Jin waits. The computer starts showing images. He smirks. Her information appears in full. A prosecutor. Kim Jin looks like he's crawled out of hell. He's right. Everyone in Korea has something to hide. He remembers meeting Han Soo-hee in his office. How can I help you? Kim Jin is sitting in his office, a computer in front of him. He seems to be staring intently at the screen. There's also a mysterious pair of dark glasses on the desk. He clicks on something. His face is thoughtful, his eyes a little troubled. The screen displays the dark glasses, then he clicks on them. It slowly runs, bringing us closer to the truth. Right after that, a window popped up, and he clicked Connect. His hand moved a little shakily, but still very professionally. Next, a video appeared, and he clicked on it without hesitation. The once silent room now echoed with sound. The person with an 11 o'clock appointment is here. Oh, send him in. Kim Jin pressed the right arrow key and then enter. In the video, 4 men and 1 woman were sipping tea, seemingly discussing business. They are, in order, Jung Yong, Nam Song-ki. Sitting opposite them are Haksu, Ingyu Seo. He gave a faint smile and said, All right, now, I'm going to scatter you all to the winds and make your lives miserable. Evening fell, and the sunlight gradually faded. At the large hospital, everyone was preparing for a hard night's work. Kim Jin quietly walked through the hospital corridor, surrounded by patients, nurses, and doctors, all rushing to do their jobs. He stopped in front of his daughter's hospital room, stunned by the cursing inside. You wanted this, you bitch. You're always flirting, and now you're acting like they raped you? You lying bastard. They're right to be angry. It's all your fault. You cheap whore. I'm so angry. I haven't even had a kiss with Seo-kun. This is driving me crazy. The vulgar insults continued. Enraged, he shouted, "Who are you?" They startled and all looked towards the door. Suhi called out in surprise, "Dad!" He stood sternly at the door, glaring at them. They were completely rude, each one of them frowning. Her dad? Let's go. Yeah. They gradually left, leaving Suhi with a take care. One of the girls slightly bowed as she passed him, saying, "Hello, sir." As they walked into the hallway, they chattered noisily. That annoying girl's dad totally ignored me. Haha. Kim Jin stood there, hearing everything, silently watching them. The sound of his daughter's sobs woke him up. I rushed in, asking if she was okay, and who that was. If it was a friend from school. Suhi covered her face with her hands, sobbing. They said, I lied. The girl's choked voice echoed through the room, tears and snot streaming down her face. She burst out, I'm the victim, so why am I being humiliated? It's not fair. It's so unfair. Dad, what should I do? Seeing the humiliation his daughter had to bear, Kim Jin's heart twisted. He gently moved to sit next to his daughter, calling, Suhi, calm down, I have a plan, he reassured her. I'll take care of everything, okay? My little princess doesn't need to worry about anything. Kim Jin gently stroked her swollen cheek. Suhi retorted, No, their parents are all very powerful people. I'm sorry. But someone ordinary like you can't do anything, she said, turning away. Suhi closed her eyes tightly, unable to control her trembling. He was silent, unable to say another word. In the hospital hallway, an angry voice echoed, Those cruel girls! They said they were Suhi's friends, so I went out to get lunch. I never expected this. How is Suhi? She asked. He replied, She's sleeping. She sighed heavily, heartbroken. Kim Jin requested, Mom, go home and rest. I'll stay with Suhi tonight. She turned and waved. Okay, I'm going now, he replied. Be careful, Mom. The clock read 9:15. Suhi was still asleep in bed. Kim Jin sat on the sofa not far away, intently reading documents. The documents contained everything about Young Yong. He carefully read every piece of information about Young Yong, as if preparing for a major act of revenge. He flipped through the pages, thinking, She's the current Minister of Education. Following that was a list of Lee Young-yong's alleged corrupt acts. Kim Jin stared, his eyes burning with hatred. The document listed a series of her wrongdoings. He flipped to the next page. Next was Nam Song-ki, a pastor accused of numerous counts of embezzlement. Kim Jin exhaled and said, It's all connected. The third was Ingyu Seo, who, no less than the others, had done many immoral things. He focused intently and flipped to the last person. It was Im Haksu, a rather mysterious man. Kim Jin wondered what he'd be doing there if he didn't have kids. A gangster as a company section chief? Is he the one who does the dirty work for others? His daughter's worried voice rang out. No, waking him from his thoughts. She kept shaking her head, sweat pouring down her forehead. Stop. Please. Stop. He quickly used a handkerchief to wipe the sweat from her forehead. After a while, Suhi seemed to escape the nightmare and fell asleep. Looking at his daughter with great sorrow, he told himself, Suhi, hang in there a little longer. Dad will teach them a lesson. The next morning was a cloudy day. At a small, bustling diner, Kim Jin was sipping his coffee next to Hyun-sik Yoon, who was flipping through documents, looking quite surprised. Hyun-sik Yoon turned and asked, May I ask where you got this information? Kim Jin refused. I can't reveal my source. He looked at the documents thoughtfully for a long time. Kim Jin inquired, Is this enough to write an article? He quickly packed up his things and said, This could be a huge scoop, but I have to verify the information before publishing. I can't publish it all at once. I hope you understand. Kim Jin politely stood up. I understand. If you need anything else, just call me. He replied, All right, I'll be going now. I followed his every step until Hyun-sik Yoon left the bar. Then Kim Jin's attention turned downwards. He was holding Hyun-sik Yoon's business card in his hand. On the back it said, If you've ever experienced something unfair, contact me. Your story will be told to the world with fairness and integrity. Cut to the hospital where Suhi is being treated. She's lying in bed asleep, and her grandmother is sleeping on the sofa not far away. Suddenly, the phone next to her makes a notification sound. Suhi curiously opens it to find a message from Jin. Look at this, you bitch. Haha. The girl intently taps on her phone. What appears before her eyes stuns Suhi. It's a link, and she slowly scrolls up. What's on the phone makes Suhi tremble unconsciously. Her head spins, and her vision blurs. On the screen is her wretched and miserable appearance. Her clothes torn to shreds, her body without a single piece of clothing to cover it. Suhi's eyes widen, her mouth agape, unable to speak. Before her is a video of herself being humiliated, surrounded by several young men trying to hold her arms down so she can't resist. The girl's red eyes in the scene were haunting, filling me with fear. No. Below were comments that were unimaginable, filled with vulgar and inhumane words. They were even trying to find her address. The phone slipped from Suhi's hand and fell with a thud. She couldn't help but sob, tears streaming down her face. The girl reached out her hand as if desperately calling for help. Her arm reached towards where Sunja was lying. She covered her mouth to avoid making a loud noise. Oh my God, her body trembling in waves. Her mood was getting worse and worse without her grandmother even noticing. Suddenly, her phone kept ringing and she picked it up. What appeared on her phone seemed to make Suhi even more desperate. Countless insulting and abusive comments were being thrown at her. Now she couldn't fight against the words of the world anymore. The hand holding the phone dropped limply. Her body was completely drained of energy. Then Suhi slowly sat up while her grandmother was still asleep, oblivious to everything. She pulls her legs out from under the covers and places her feet on the cold floor. Suhi abruptly rips out all the IV lines, trying to suppress the pain. Her body still trembles. She leans against the wall and slowly walks. As if reluctant, she turns back, tears streaming down her young face. Suhi stares at Sunja for a long time, silently saying goodbye to her. Then, without hesitation, they continued on. A beautiful scene unfolded before us, with sunlight streaming through the trees. Little Suhi innocently sat eating rice balls when someone called her name. Suhi. Kim-jin focused on asking, "Do you like Dad more? Or Grandma more?" Their little family sat together on the grass, eating, chatting, and looking incredibly happy. Without thinking, Suhi pointed at him and immediately replied, "Dad," Grandma playfully teased. "What about Grandma?" The innocent little girl replied, "Then Grandma." He happily pointed to his cheek. "Haha, give Dad a kiss." Suhi leaned into his embrace, ready for a kiss. Then, suddenly, she vanished before his eyes. Kim-jin, panicked, widened his eyes, sweat beading, and called out, "Suhi! Mom, where are you both?" He stood up, searching. He called out hopelessly, "Suhi! Mom, where are you?" Suddenly, a desperate cry came from behind him. "Dad!" Kim-jin was stunned by what he saw. Suhi, the daughter he loved, was now being violated by some bastard, and she kept calling out, "Dad! Dad! Help me!" Suhi's face was filled with terror, desperately begging her father to save her. The man didn't care at all and continued what he was doing, ignoring Suhi's screams. Kim-jin growled, demanding, "How dare you touch my daughter?" The man just gave a bizarre smile without replying. He yelled, veins popping on his forehead, "You son of a bitch! Get off my daughter now!" Suddenly, he woke up with a start, his eyes wide with panic. It turned out it was just a dream because he'd fallen asleep on the train. Kim-jin sighed in relief, his face covered in sweat. Suddenly, the phone in his pocket rang. Kim-jin took out his phone and saw it was a message from his daughter. The message read, "Dad, I've tried to endure it, but this life is like hell. I'm in too much pain. I don't want to live anymore. Thank you for taking care of me. I'm sorry. Dad." Those final words completely woke him from his drowsiness. Scrolling down, she wrote, "I hope in the next life, I can still be your daughter and be loved by you like this, okay? I can't hold on anymore. I love you. Dad, I'm so sorry." His body trembled uncontrollably. Finally, the message. "Goodbye." His heart was screaming. "No." Suhei. No, but it was too late. Suhi is standing silently on the hospital rooftop. Before her is a vast sky and rows of tall buildings. A gentle breeze blows through Suhi's hair. She has stopped crying now. Right below her feet are rows of neatly parked cars and a drop of several dozen meters. Suddenly, the phone in her hand rings. It's a call from Kim-jin. In her heart, she says, "I'm sorry, Dad." Her voice is pitifully choked up. "I don't have the courage to go on anymore." The sky is strangely blue today. Suhei gazed at the vast sky for a moment, then closed her eyes as if she had completely let go, a tear rolling down her small face. Suhi dangled one leg over the edge. In Suhi's hospital room, her grandmother slowly opened her eyes. Looking around and realizing Suhi was gone, she immediately woke up. She looked around in confusion. Then she looked at the empty hospital bed. Sunja got up and walked towards the bathroom, calling out, "Suhi, are you in the bathroom? Where did she go?" A noise behind her caught her attention. I'm shaking, unable to believe what I'm seeing. No. Suhi is lying motionless on the ground, next to a crushed car. It looks like she jumped and hit the car. Suhi is bleeding heavily, and her phone keeps ringing. With the last of her consciousness, Suhi stares at her phone. Then she never wakes up again. Cut to a high-rise building. A voice echoes, "I don't think you need to worry about that anymore. I've already intimidated him. If he knows what's good for him, he'll take the money and drop it. Just throw some money at him and it's done. Yeah, I know. These kids don't study. They just chase girls all day. Haha. Maybe we should send them abroad. I know. We should grab a meal sometime. Haha. I'll call you back later. Jae-young hung up. At his feet was a girl, drooling and red-faced, asking, "More?" He laughed and ordered, 10 more minutes. She immediately replied, "Yes." Kim Jin ran to the hospital with every ounce of strength he had. 2 police officers stood in front of his daughter's hospital room. He called out, panting, "Mom! Soo-hee!" A police officer quickly stopped him. "You can't go in!" Suddenly, a voice called from behind, "Are you Soo-hee's father?" Kim Jin ran over and replied, "Yes." "Where's my daughter? And my mother?" The officer pointed behind him, saying his mother was resting in another room and asked him to follow me. "We need him to confirm something," he panted as he followed the officer. The officer led him into the room, the morgue. He said as they walked, "The body was severely damaged. Please understand." Kim Jin approached a bed, the person on it covered with a pure white sheet. He was stunned, his body involuntarily trembling, his mind reeling. The officer slowly pulled back the white sheet. The body was his daughter, the child he cherished and loved with all his heart. The police asked again if it was her. I couldn't hold back my tears. They just flowed, stroking her cold body. My heart felt like it was being crushed. Kim Jin choked back tears, scolding, "I told you to endure it a little longer. Soo-hee." I called my daughter's name, but she can't answer anymore. I collapsed in pain, screaming, "Soo-hee!" Evening at News Network 24. The lights inside are shining. In the brightly lit office, there's no one around. Hyung-sik-yoon is sitting, intently working. The screen displays the content. Exclusive. The dark truth behind the gang rape case of a female student. Ministers, prosecutors, council members, pastors, criminals who escaped prison thanks to such powerful parents. Are the prosecution and police cooperating? Evidence found of money changing hands between the prosecutor, the father of one of the perpetrators, and the lead detective in the case. The gang rape victim suffered injuries and anxiety disorder. Fingers fly across the keyboard. Lines are added and subtracted to denounce the crimes. Furthermore, the investigator sided with the attackers by blaming the victim and her clothes. The victim's father, Mr. Kim, said, "My daughter is clearly," although requesting an interview. The investigator refused on the grounds that the case was under investigation and could not answer. Several cigarette butts in the ashtray still smolder. The sound of typing rings out, along with the straight lines. Mr. Kim said that the other side wanted to settle, so they wouldn't have to take the case to court. Being insulted and being informed that they would be sued in return for defamation and slander. The connection between the lead investigator and the attackers in the case is gradually revealed. The perpetrator's family transferred money through an account. This money was used to cover up the investigation, and in the meantime, in the quiet space, the phone on the desk suddenly rang. Hyung-sik-yoon answered, "Hello? It's already past 9? I'll be home as soon as I finish this article." Words flashed across the screen. The investigator in charge of the case has revealed the truth. A female employee's bank account was used to transfer money to silence and cover up the incident. The prosecutor in the case is making the situation even more shocking. If this misconduct is exposed, trust in the police will collapse. He suddenly noticed something was wrong and asked, "What's wrong with your voice? Are you okay?" Suddenly, Hyung-sik-yoon supported the phone with his shoulder, looking surprised. He quickly picked up the phone. "What? Another $40,000 for the deposit? Is the landlord crazy?" Hyung-sik-yoon frowned and sighed. He slumped back in his chair, annoyed. "Okay, I'll try to get the money. Don't worry, okay? I'll see you later. Love you." Hyung-sik-yoon threw the phone on the desk. He held his head in despair. Hyung-sik-yoon gritted his teeth, his face full of resentment, and cursed. "Damn it, this is a pain. Where am I going to get $40,000? Suddenly, an idea struck him, and he released his hand. He looked at the computer containing the crime. Meanwhile, evidence showed that the investigator had been bribed by the attacker's parents. The prosecutor, as a spokesperson for the attacker's families, used a female employee's bank account to receive up to $20,000 to cover up the investigation. The shocking truth is that the prosecutor is none other than the chief prosecutor currently working at the Seoul prosecutor's office. If this illicit relationship between the parties involved is exposed, public trust in prosecutors and the police will collapse severely. Hyung-sik-yoon spoke up. "Wait a minute." The lines pointed to the amount of the bribe and the nature of human greed. Looking at the open box, lines of instruction appeared. Please contact us if you have experienced something unfair or think there is something that needs attention. Your story will be told to the world fairly and accurately. Hyung-sik-yoon hesitated and pouted. In the luxurious building, a few rooms still had their lights on. The police officer handed Kim Jin a can of drink. "Have some of this coffee," Kim Jin replied. "Thank you." In the dim light, Kim Jin's face was heavy. He wondered aloud. "When can I receive my daughter's body?" The police officer, holding a cigarette, said, "In cases of suicide, there are many procedures. I'll call you as soon as it's done." Kim Jin frowned, confused. "Soo-hee, she committed suicide?" The police officer nodded. "I'm truly sorry, but that's right. She jumped from the hospital rooftop." The night was silent, the sound of conversation echoing. Perhaps she didn't feel too much pain. He read from a message on his phone. The police officer looked at Kim Jin and asked, "Has she been going through something bad lately?" Kim Jin lowered his head. "Yes." The police officer glanced away. "We're investigating further, but it seems she was bullied by her classmates. Perhaps that's why she took her own life, to avoid enduring those things anymore." Kim Jin frowned, his voice serious. "Can you tell me who it was?" The police officer firmly refused. "I'm sorry, I understand your pain, but I can't reveal their identities." He exhaled a puff of white smoke. "If they broke the law, they'll receive the appropriate punishment." Kim Jin was doubtful. Will that really happen? Night fell, and brightly lit skyscrapers stood side by side. In the gym, many people were working out. Jae-young, his face drenched in sweat, looked over. The girl next to him was covered in sweat. A trim waist jogging. Jae-young, panting, glares with unfriendly eyes. Suddenly, his phone rings, and he picks it up. Jae-young answers, saying, "Hello." Cut to the social work office, where a voice says, "Ah!" Hyung-sik-yoon, looking grim, asks, "Are you Prosecutor Jae-young-jo?" He looks suspicious and replies, "Yes, this is Prosecutor Jo." A girl beside him takes notice. Jae-young asks, "Who is this?" Hyung-sik-yoon solemnly adjusts his glasses. Hyung-sik-yoon introduces himself sternly. "I'm Hyung-sik-yoon, a reporter for Network 24. The person on the other end suggests, "I'm calling you because I have something to discuss, not some nameless online reporter." Jae-young sighs. "I'm sorry, I don't do personal interviews." He continues, "Please send your questions to the public prosecutor's office's PR department." Suddenly, the girl next to him speaks up. "Excuse me." Jae-young turns his head. The sweaty girl asks, "You're a prosecutor, right?" He smirks, quickly hanging up the phone. "Yes, I work at the Seoul Public Prosecutor's office." The girl is surprised. "Really? It's an honor to work out at the same gym as you. How about we grab a coffee together sometime?" Suddenly, a voice comes from the phone. "I'm not here for an interview. This concerns your son." Hearing this, he turns his head. Jae-young raises his hand. "Excuse me." He acts surprised. "What do you mean?" "My son." Hyung-sik-yoon is straightforward. "Please don't pretend." He examines the documents. Exclusive. The dark truth behind the gang rape of a high school girl is on the table. Your son being a rapist is getting a lot of attention. Are you free? Let's talk about it. Jae-young anxiously answers the phone and leaves. The girl behind him watches him. She observes intently. "Okay, but not now. Meet me in 2 hours." Watching his retreating figure, a conversation is heard. "Is the hotel cafe okay?" "Yeah, see you later." Jae-young looks at the phone in his hand and sighs. He turns and suggests, "Let's go get coffee." The night is dark, and the lights of a few rooms flicker. A shot of an IV bag hanging on a stand. Soonja, pale-faced, lies in a hospital bed. She slowly opens her eyes, and a voice asks, "How are you feeling?" "Mom?" Soonja says anxiously. "I'm okay. How's Soo-hee?" The man replies sadly, "There are still some procedures to complete. They'll bring her back when everything's done." Her eyes well up with tears, Soonja says, choked with emotion. "I was so stupid. If I hadn't fallen asleep." She bursts into tears, sobbing. "I wouldn't have let Soo-hee go. Oh, my poor grandchild." Kim Jin reassures her. "Mom, don't blame yourself." Tears stream down Soonja's cheeks. "I can't help it. She sounds so upset." Kim Jin frowned, pursing his lips. The girl's the victim. So why is she being bullied and then trying to hurt herself? Soonja covered her face and sobbed. Why aren't the criminals being condemned? Why is it her? I really don't understand. He clenched his fist, his hand trembling, full of resentment. This world is crazy. In the parking garage, a luxury car is approaching. Inside, rows of houses are densely packed. Jae-young carefully examines a stack of documents. The documents contain exclusive information about the dark truth behind the gang rape case of a high school girl. The following pages detail the case. $20,000 to cover up the investigation. The shocking truth is that the prosecutor involved is none other than the current chief prosecutor at the Seoul prosecutor's office. If this corrupt relationship between the parties is exposed, public trust in the prosecution and the police will collapse severely. Hyung-sik Yoon picked up his cup and observed the reaction. He took a sip. Jae-young, looking serious, focused on reading the documents. He looked up with cold eyes. Hyung-sik Yoon smiled meaningfully. I'm announcing this tomorrow. What do you think? Jae-young's lips curled up. He clapped sarcastically. Excellent. It's quite a story. One that makes Hyung-sik Yoon wary, Jae-young said dismissively. Want me to pat you on the back and praise you some more? He wondered. You said your name is Hyung-sik, right? He replied. Yes, it is. Jae-young reached for a sugar cube. I hate beating around the bush, so let's get straight to the point. Why did you give me this newspaper? He continued. You want money, right? Hyung-sik Yoon lowered his head in silence. After a moment, he looked up and replied, Yes, I need money. Jae-young smiled slyly, unwrapping the sugar cube, and asked bluntly, How much? Hyung-sik Yoon held up 4 fingers and said, 4, he questioned. 4? $40? Jae-young reached into his pocket. If that's the case, I'll get it for you right now. He was confused. Are you serious? Hyung-sik Yoon frowned in annoyance. Hey, is this some kind of joke? He wouldn't look me in the eye. I want $40. I need that money for a deposit on a place. Just give me the money and I'll drop the article, okay? Jae-yoon smiled, holding a sugar cube. The sugar cube fell into the hot coffee, a wisp of steam rising. He spoke, making Hyung-sik Yoon look up. I have a condition. Jae-young picked up a spoon and requested, Tell me your source, and I'll give you the money. He stirred his coffee. Curious, so? Hyung-sik Yoon pouted and remained silent. Then he reluctantly nodded. Okay. Jae-young, with a sinister look, chews on his spoon, scheming. Outside, the heavy rain pours as if mourning Soo-hee's miserable fate. It pours down on the funeral home where Soo-hee is being sent off on her final journey. Kim-jin silently holds her portrait, his face unshaven, with Soon-ja sobbing behind him. She sobs uncontrollably, her eyes already blurred from crying. He bows his head in silence, his eyes wet as if he's about to cry. Soo-hee's body is pushed into the crematorium by the staff. It's an incredibly tragic scene. That situation reminded him of the year Soo-hee's mother passed away. Soo-hee's mother, with her long silky black hair, her picture neatly placed on the table. Soo-hee's innocent voice rang out. Daddy, where are we? Daddy, why are we here? He was in so much pain back then. He couldn't hold back his tears and cried like rain. The little girl wondered. Why are you crying? Daddy, don't cry. Kim-jin wiped away his tears, gently sat down and said, Soo-hee, your mother was sick, so she went to heaven. The little girl curiously kept asking questions. Why did Mommy go there? He explained kindly. Everyone goes there eventually. Honey, it's just that your mother went there too soon. So, this is the last time we'll see you. Honey, say something to your mom. Sweetie, give her a big hug. With tears in her eyes, I love you, Mommy. Ending the flashback, he quietly says goodbye to Soo-hee. He had to say goodbye to her mother before, and now it's her. The cremation chamber closes, and Soon-ja can't bear to touch the glass. She cries out in anguish. No! He covers his face, his body trembling. Soo-hee, in Kim-jin's mind, an image of young, innocent Soo-hee appears, reminding him, It's my birthday today, Dad, you have to come. Next is the girl as she grows up, happily hugging a teddy bear, saying, You really bought this for me? Finally, a radiant smile and sparkling eyes as she holds up 2 fingers, posing. He sobs silently, hearing Soo-hee's voice. I'm going to school. Why are you... You have to come home for dinner. No, remember to come home for dinner. Dad, you're the best. I'm a kid. I need money for books. What time is it? Grandma is worried. Dad, can I get a new phone? His life is now nothing but a bleak, dark color. Cut to the building where Jae-young is. He opens the door and enters the room cheerfully. Good morning, Han Soo-hee politely replies. Good morning, sir. You seem refreshed today. Is there something good going on? He reached into his coat, looking for something. Oh, I just found a little rat that needs to be dealt with. And here, he produced a small piece of paper. He instructed. Send $40,000 to this person, Han Soo-hee said. Yes. Then he walked away, not forgetting to turn back and remind, and bring me my coffee. The hearse carrying Kim-jin sped along the highway. He sat silently, clutching Soo-hee's portrait. The atmosphere in the car was extremely quiet, almost as if he were alone. Suddenly, the ringing of the phone shattered the silence. The call was from an acquaintance I'd saved as Bastard. Kim-jin answered, his voice lazy. Hello? The other line introduced himself. Kim, this is Prosecutor Jae-young. Annoyed, he replied. I know what you want. The man chuckled derisively. I heard you did something stupid. He was quite surprised and asked, What, something stupid? Jae-young bluntly replied, Yes, really stupid. I know you hired a private investigator to look into my background. He crushed his pack of cigarettes and sent the evidence to some reporter. Hearing his voice in my ear, Kim Jin. How could I be so stupid? I thought to myself. Could it be that reporter? I gritted my teeth in anger. Kim Jin challenged Jae-young. So what? He smirked. So what? It seems you've really lost your mind. He bit the end of his cigarette. You've violated the Personal Information Protection Act and the Credit Information Act. Jae-young lit his cigarette. You're going to jail. Do you know what I'm doing? He looked at the computer screen. I'm writing an arrest warrant for you. That guy's lecturing us, and those rats snooping into people's backgrounds need to be taught a lesson, don't you think? He's still going on. I'm letting you know early as a favor. Jae-young loudly challenges. What do you think? Kim Jin smirks. He slowly replies, Thank you, sir. Jae-young suspiciously listens to him on the other end. I was worried you were calling to sincerely apologize. He calmly continues, and cool my thirst for revenge. But it seems I worried for nothing. He slams the table, questioning him. What the hell are you babbling about? Listen carefully. You must be delusional. Your life ends here. Kim Jin scoffed as he spoke. I'll personally ensure it. I'll destroy your company and make everyone around you despise you to your very core. You're still laughing? You're insane. You're laughing gleefully about destroying my company? Then give it your best shot. You saying that is driving Jae-young crazy? I look forward to it. Good luck, he muttered angrily. Crazy bastard. He challenged you. Keep laughing while you still can. He sneered. You'll soon be crying blood and begging to leave. Kim Jin silently leaned back. His voice turned ominous. I assure you of one thing, he said sternly. Your son's name is Youngmin, right? I will definitely chop that brat's head off in front of you. I swear on Soo-hee's name. He caressed his daughter's picture. The last thing he saw. Jae-young angrily shouted, What did you just say? Say it again. The man frantically challenged. Go ahead and try it. I'll catch you right away, you bastard! Kim Jin smirked as he listened. I'll scare you so much you'll piss your pants, he calmly replied. I think you're the one who's going to piss your pants. I guarantee it. Jae-young yelled into the phone. You damn bastard! He angrily threw the phone straight at the front door. He irritably swept everything off his desk onto the floor. His employee cautiously peeked through the door. Jae-young, panting and supporting himself. That bastard, how dare he? I can't believe it. He was still burning with anger. He ordered the employee standing outside the door. Get a detective here in 10 minutes. I want that guy thrown in jail immediately. The other person quickly replied. Yes, sir. He said irritably. How dare that bastard talk to me like that? I'll make him regret the day he was born. A peaceful atmosphere at HS Memorial Park. Silence pervades the corridors. The deceased are commemorated side by side through small glass panels. Kim Jin stood silently before those glass panels. Kim Jin stared at Soo-hee's urn. He stroked the glass. You must resent your old man, huh? He said sadly. My heart broke when you said I couldn't do anything because I was just an ordinary office worker. I've never regretted hiding my real job from you so much. His voice was full of regret. If only I had told you I worked for the National Intelligence Service. Maybe you wouldn't have died like this. Kim Jin hung his head in anguish. He sadly looked up at the clear glass. He stated firmly, It's meaningless to say it now, but I promise you, rest in peace. I'll avenge you, my princess. Kim Jin vowed. I will find every single person who killed you and make them suffer a slow and agonizing death. He reassured the little girl's spirit. Don't worry. I may not be a good father, but I'm good at killing people. Rest assured. He looked up at the small window one last time. Rest in peace, my darling. I'll be visiting you soon. He stared at Soo-hee's photo. Goodbye, my little princess. Kim Jin clenched his fist, turned, and left. The clear sky covered the area. A car braked abruptly. Soon-ja quietly got out of the car. Suddenly, a figure quietly walked towards her. The person asked her sternly, Excuse me, are you Kim Jin's mother? The man held up his badge. We're from the prosecutor's office. He asked her, Where is he? We need to see him. Soon-ja was bewildered. Looking for him? She recounted. He went to the countryside to clear his head. What's wrong? The prosecutor inquired. May I ask why you're wearing mourning clothes? In another building. Silence hung in the air. Jae-young couldn't believe his ears. What? That little girl is gone? He angrily grabbed his half-smoked cigarette. Damn it! Why did she die? This complicates things, he loudly complained. This is annoying. Doesn't his mother know where he is? That bastard planned to drag us down with him, he instructed the person on the other end. Okay, I understand. We don't know when he'll show up. so send some people to monitor his house and workplace. Jae-young agreed. Okay, good luck. He hung up the landline. He wondered, confused. Should I let the others know? Elsewhere, Nana stated frankly. School violence is a problem that the entire nation must confront, she said slowly while being filmed. The Ministry of Education is launching a campaign to end school violence. She and the people behind her raised their hands resolutely. We will defeat this problem. The director's voice echoed from afar. Okay, cut. Applause. Everyone did a great job. Nana waved and went downstairs, thanking everyone. The director praised her lavishly. You did a great job. You could be an actress, she replied modestly. You're too kind. I was actually very worried, Nana continued. I even had to take a few pills. I'm really looking forward to the final version. The director chuckled. Really? I wouldn't have known. You don't need to worry. Suddenly, someone approached. Minister, he handed Nana a phone. It's the prosecutor, she replied. Oh, I should take this, she waved to the director. Excuse me, he replied. Go ahead, Nana said into the phone. Hello, this is me. She walked in another direction. Yes, I can talk now. Go ahead. Suddenly, she stopped dead in her tracks. Nana asked suspiciously, Really? Then she suddenly smiled. She said darkly, Good riddance to that little brat. Nana asked the person on the phone, So the only problem left is the father, right? She walked towards the car. He seems like a hothead. He might go looking for the kids and do something. So remember to keep an eye on him so he doesn't do anything stupid, she said calmly. Okay. She got into the car. Oh, and remember not to let this get to the press. Nana laughed gleefully. Thanks, big brother. Okay, let me know if anything happens. With that, she hung up the phone. Her expression darkened. Nana suddenly frowned, remembering someone. She growled. Damn it. The driver suddenly turned around. Huh? She quickly turned away. I wasn't scolding you. Don't worry about it, he politely replied. It's okay. Where to? Nana looked exhausted. I think I need a massage. Take me to Gangnam. The driver agreed with her. Okay. At a solemn church, a deep voice echoes. Timothy chapter 2, verse 9. The voice continues. And I want women to be modest. They should dress with decency and propriety. Nam Songki questions those below. What is the meaning of this verse? Yes. It is extremely important for women to be careful in how they dress and act. He continues to lecture. Look at the young girls these days. They wear skirts so short you can see their underwear. And they put on makeup like prostitutes. Isn't that why the men in this country go crazy for them? He asks everyone, tell me. A man below shouts, I'm a man too. I'd go crazy for them. Snickers erupt. Geez, he admitted he'd go crazy. Nam Songki agrees. He's right. These young girls play a big role in why this country has so many sex-related crimes. He asked again why you girls dress like that. Dressing to drive men wild. And everyone below shouted, Amen, he proclaimed loudly. I want all the young women here to listen carefully, instead of dressing so provocatively. I hope you will all dress more modestly, he tried to persuade. Women, the Lord has told you to live in humility, and in his name, I hope you will live that way. Prayers rang out again. Amen, amen. Nam Songki spread his arms wide. Let us pray. Elsewhere, Kim Jin calmly looked ahead. Suddenly, he stopped. He stared at the statue in front of him. A pile of broken scrap appeared before him. Cabinets and jars are neatly arranged in a corner. In a shop, guns are lined up side by side. Kim Jin quietly opens the door and enters. The gun seller doesn't bother to greet him. I don't sell guns. Get out. He calmly pours a bottle of beer. Kim Jin walks up and says, Hey, old man. He stares intently at him. He, imposing in his dark glasses, also looks at him. Suddenly, the gun seller startled and fell straight off his chair. He waved his hands, denying it. I'm not making illegal guns anymore. I swear to God. Are you sure? Really? Kim Jin suddenly pushed the wall. He asked him, Then what's this? He punched the wall hard. A large box of guns fell out. The gun seller, sweating profusely, looked at him. He quickly explained, I just made those for fun. Kim Jin picked up the gun. Old man. He suggested to him, I need you to make me a weapon. The gun seller exclaimed in surprise, What? At a fancy restaurant. Ji-young was dining under a noble chandelier. Suddenly, the phone rang, causing him to stop. He wiped his mouth and listened to the person on the other end. Prosecutor, this is Kim Gi-cheol. How's it going? He asked tentatively. He recounted. I'm at the trading company where Kim Jin works, but something's very strange. He looked around. There are only a few desks, and besides that, the office is empty. There aren't any employees either. He reported, Yes. There aren't any documents here either to give us information about what they do here. It feels like this office was set up just as a front, Kim Gi-cheol recalled. According to the building security? people only visit once or twice a month. I feel like this is just a shell company. He suddenly remembered. Oh, there's one more thing. The investigation team called me, he recounted. They tried to get his fingerprints in the house, but there weren't any. Jae-young couldn't believe his ears. What did you say? He tried to explain. I don't know what to say. This has never happened before. A friend of mine in forensics said there's only one explanation for this. He asked curiously. What is it? Kim Gi-cheol replied, startling him. He memorized every object he touched and wiped away his fingerprints. Jae-young frantically retorted. How could that be? Who remembers everything they touch in their own house and then wipes away their fingerprints? Kim Gi-cheol explained. Well, I heard that professional assassins tend to do things like that to erase their tracks, he exclaimed. What? Late at night, the moonlight shines everywhere. The school still has a few lights on. Students leaving complain. Ugh, these night classes are exhausting. Want to hit the internet cafe for a bit? Sure. Suddenly, a voice calls out to Youngmin. Hey, Youngmin, let's grab something to eat at the convenience store. Aren't you hungry? He refuses. Nah, I have to go to the library. His friend puts an arm around him. You poor thing. Your dad's so strict about studying, huh? Youngmin replies dejectedly. I'm going crazy. If I don't get into law school, he'll beat me to death. The two figures talking are reflected in a car's side mirror, the sound of a lever being pulled. A blinding light shone directly at Youngmin. The car sped towards him, causing Youngmin to collapse in pain. His friend cried out in alarm. Youngmin! People gathered around. What the hell? Why did you suddenly run out? Kim Jin quickly got out of the car. Oh no, are you all right? He said anxiously. I'm so sorry, I didn't see you, it's my fault. He quickly helped Youngmin up. You must be hurt. Let me take you to the hospital. Youngmin was in so much pain he wanted to curse. That really hurt. Kim Jin helped Youngmin into his car. He said to Youngmin's friend, I'll take him to the hospital. Don't worry too much. He said that and slammed the car door shut. Kim Jin immediately sped off. Youngmin's friend squinted as he watched the car leave. He thought to himself, an HU license plate. Isn't that only for rental cars? He muttered. What's that about? The car sped onto the road. Then it turned in one direction and continued on. Youngmin suddenly looked back. Uncle, he wonders, patting Kim Jin's shoulder. The hospital's the other way. Where are you going? Kim Jin calmly adjusts the rearview mirror. He looks directly at Youngmin. You're Yo Youngmin, Prosecutor Joe's son, right? He stares blankly at Kim Jin. Yes, who are you? He calmly places his hand on Youngmin's. He puts a small square object in his hand. Youngmin exclaims in surprise. That stinks! He clutches his hand, questioning Kim Jin. What is this? I glanced at Youngmin. I need to focus on driving. We'll talk later. He absent-mindedly replied, I'm so sleepy. Then he dozed off in the back seat. The car Kim Jin was driving sped along the road. At a brightly lit high-rise building in the night. The wall clock showed it was almost midnight. Nana opened the door. You're home late these days, Jae-young quickly explained. I have a lot of work to do. Where's Youngmin? She pressed a button on the door. He's still at the library. He wondered. But it's so late. Nana reminded him that the college entrance exam was only a year away. Jae-young took off his jacket. He's been preoccupied lately, so tell him to come home early from tomorrow. Or pick him up. Got it? Nana asked him suspiciously. Why? Is something wrong? The photo of Youngmin with his family still hangs on the wall. A desolate late night in another place. In an abandoned house far from the city, a car is parked. Youngmin is placed on a chair. He's fast asleep. He groggily wakes up. Kim Jin spoke. You're awake. He touched the weapons laid out on the table. Youngmin looked at them in a panic. Kim Jin calmly assessed the weapons. Youngmin stared at his tightly bound arms. He questioned in horror. What is this? He struggled wildly. Why did you tie me up? Where am I? He continued to scream. Who are you? Why did you kidnap me? Let me go! Kim Jin shushes him. I'll answer all your questions soon. He picks up the hammer. We're in a warehouse outside Gyeonggi province, and it's just the two of us within 300 meters. It's pretty remote. He stares at Youngmin. And I'm Soon Jahee's father. He stammers. Soon Jahee? Kim Jin slowly walks towards him. Yes. He puts his hand on his shoulder. Do you remember the girl you and your friends dragged into the woods and violated? He says calmly. That was my daughter. He informs Youngmin. She's gone now. I remember. Soo-hee was only 16. She was too young. She left me a note saying she didn't want to live anymore. And then she jumped from the roof of a building. Kim Jin squeezed Youngmin's shoulders hard. Because of you bastards. He questioned him. Do you know how I feel? He gritted his teeth. Strangling Youngmin, I want to tear you to pieces. He grabbed his hair. Look at me. Look into the eyes of the monster you woke up inside me. Kim-jin resentfully declared. From now on, I will return all the pain, sorrow, and fear that you caused Suhi, and more. He stared at Youngmin. You better prepare yourself. Believe it or not, I'm an expert at this kind of thing. You'll wish I'd just killed you. Kim-jin smashed him in the head. But don't worry, I'll let you scream all you want. He moved closer to Youngmin. He had a hammer and nail ready in his hand. Youngmin frantically stopped him. Wait, stop. He trembled and pleaded. Uncle, please, calm down. What you're about to do to me, you know it's against the law, right? Kim-jin calmly replied. I know. I have nothing left to lose anyway. He simultaneously placed the nail on Youngmin's hand and brought the hammer down. It's all because of you bastards. Youngmin screamed in fear. Uncle! Uncle! He trembled and started crying. I'm sorry. Tears streamed down his face. Please forgive me, please. Kim-jin smiling menacingly. Don't ask me for mercy. Go beg Suhi yourself. The hammer struck again. A loud noise erupted, and blood splattered everywhere. Youngmin's desperate screams echoed throughout the house. The city at night seemed even more bustling, with tall buildings brightly lit. Everything seemed no different from daytime. Inside the room, a middle-aged man was fast asleep. His wife came in and gently called. Honey, honey, wake up. He drowsily asked. What's wrong? Looking worried, she replied. Youngmin isn't home yet. He was startled to hear that. He quickly grabbed his glasses from the table. Then he calmly asked, Are you sure he didn't come home and leave early? She said seriously. You know he never wakes up early. He stood up and said, Then call him. She picked up her phone and said anxiously, I already called, but he's not answering. The father calmly walked into the bathroom and turned on the faucet. Then he slowly took a bottle of facial cleanser from the shelf. As he calmly lathered his hands, the mother screamed in extreme anxiety, Youngmin! As soon as her son answered, she rushed to ask, Where are you? Where have you been all night? But the voice on the other end wasn't Youngmin's. Surprised, she asked, Who is this? The father, hearing this, turned to listen, she said calmly. I'm Youngmin's mother. What's going on? Wait a minute. She went into the bathroom and handed the phone to her husband. Honey, I called Youngmin, but a strange man answered and wants to talk to you. He quickly wiped the foam off his face and spoke. Who is this? The mother replied. He won't answer. I've never heard this voice before. The father slowly looked at the illuminated phone screen. Then he asked sternly, Who are you? A cold voice replied from the other end. Did you sleep well? Seemingly recognizing the person, he shouted in surprise. Kim-jin, how dare you touch my son? Rage erupting, he growled into the phone. What have you done to him? Put him on the phone, you bastard. Kim-jin calmly replied. Oh, you want to talk to Youngmin, but he's asleep. He slowly recounted. He was screaming in pain all night, so I gave him some painkillers. He's sleeping like the dead now. Hearing this, the father could only scream in helplessness. You son of a bitch, what have you done to my son? Kim-jin gently said. Since you're a prosecutor, you must know the law of lex talionis, right? Hearing this, the father exclaimed in fear. An eye for an eye, he replied. That's right. I'm just returning the pain and suffering that he and his friends inflicted on my daughter. With interest. Of course, a terrifying revenge is about to begin. Please like and subscribe to the Miss Manhwa channel to follow along. The angry father gritted his teeth. You vicious bastard! Kim-jin didn't waver. What do you think? You want to kill me that badly? The father replied without hesitation. Of course, I want to tear you to pieces, he replied. I'm glad I can use the law of retaliation against you, returning all the pain, suffering, and rage that I had to endure. He emphasized each word. But this is just the beginning, Kim-jin solemnly declared. You stole the most important person in my life. Now I will take everything from you. The worried mother asked. Honey, who is that? He continued. One by one, I will destroy everything you've built, and when I'm done, I'll come for you. The angry father asked, What do you want from me? What do you need? Do you need money? Kim-jin calmly replied, Perhaps you misunderstand. I'm not doing this for money. The father didn't understand. So he said, I'm doing this for revenge. The father asked, Revenge? He replied, That's right, I'm getting revenge for my daughter. Suhi, prepare yourself. With that, he immediately threw the phone away without hesitation. Then he sped off into the night. The phone screen remained lit on the ground. On the other end of the line? A voice called out hopelessly. Hello? Hello? A crashing sound echoed in the apartment. The father couldn't hear anything anymore. The mother anxiously pressed him. Who is it? Honey. Seeing her husband's panicked and angry expression, she grew more uneasy. Did he kidnap our son? Is that it? Time passed quickly, and the next day arrived. At the Pyeongtaek gun shop office, the interior was quite quiet and somewhat gloomy. Below, there was another passage, which seemed to have existed for a long time and looked quite old. The sound of machinery operating echoed incessantly. The gunsmith is intensely focused on forging the metal. He's completely absorbed in his work, oblivious to everything around him. Suddenly, a voice rings out. "Working all night, huh?" Kim Jin slowly approaches with an air of great authority. The craftsman finally looks up at the clock and says, "I was so engrossed, I lost track of time." He asks, "How far along are you with the things I asked you to make?" The gunsmith replies, "I've almost finished everything you requested." He gestures towards a nearby table, where many items are displayed. The gunsmith adds, "Except for that sniper rifle," Kim Jin asked, confused. "Why?" He explained that making a gun that met all my requirements was too difficult. He scratched his head, looking embarrassed, saying I wanted a gun that could be assembled and disassembled for easy transport, and then demanded it hit a target 2.5 kilometers away. I sighed and said, "You made one 2 years ago." Hearing that, he said, "Do you think it's easy to make a barrel that accurate?" Then he started explaining the design. "I'm sure you know this, but to shoot accurately, the barrel has to be perfectly straight. If it's even slightly bent, the bullet won't fly straight and will veer off in another direction." He explained in great detail. But it's not easy to drill something that straight by hand. To ensure it's perfect, 2 days isn't enough. Kim Jin listened and asked, "So how much longer do you need?" He calculated for a moment and said, "I'm not sure. Maybe at least a week." I sighed softly and smiled. Then he said sternly, "Old man, I'm giving you 3 more days. If it's not done by then, I'll let you relive exactly what you experienced 2 years ago." He asked again, "Do you understand me?" Hearing this, the old man was utterly shocked and hurried to open a door, saying, "Oh, now that I think about it, I made a gun barrel a few months ago. Where did I put it?" Scene cuts to a large corporation. Jae-young opened the door and was shocked by the scene before him. In-gyu Seo was already in the office, talking to another assistant. He turned to look, his expression slightly displeased. Jae-young asked, "Sir, what brings you here?" In-gyu Seo replied, "We need to talk." Outside on the balcony, the city view from above looked extravagant. He flicked his lighter and lit the cigarette in his hand. Then he asked, "What have you been up to lately?" Jae-young, a little confused, replied, "Excuse me?" In-gyu Seo said, "What the hell have you done to make those Nagok guys keep hounding me?" The man was taken aback. Jae-young thought to himself, "Nagok? Does he mean the National Intelligence Service?" He calmly replied, "I haven't done anything to attract their attention." He cut to the chase and said directly, "Black River Trading. Have you ever heard of it?" Jae-young immediately realized, "Black River Trading? Isn't that the company Kim Jin works for?" He replied, "Oh, I know. A suspect in a case I'm working on works there." In-gyu Seo said, "You idiot! Don't you know that's a front company run by an agent?" Jae-young was shocked beyond belief when he heard that. Thoughts and memories flashed through his head. "You're going to destroy my company? Haha. Go ahead and try. Good luck. I'm at the trading company where Kim Jin works. But something's very strange. I have a feeling this is just a shell company." He clenched his fist, his body trembling with anger. "So that means Kim Jin is an agent? No way." In-gyu Seo threw his cigarette on the ground and said, "Anyway, take all the files you have and go to Nagok right away." He announced, "They want to talk to you," before leaving. He didn't forget to instruct, "Remember to clarify everything and report back to me." He bowed and replied, "Yes, sir. I'll contact you soon." The truth about Kim Jin's identity is about to be revealed. Like and subscribe to Miss Manhwa now so you don't miss the next exciting developments. But the moment In-gyu Seo left, he revealed a very displeased expression. Damn it. 2 small houses stand quietly in the green forest, sunlight filtering gently through the leaves. The silence is breathless, broken only by the wind and the long shadows of the trees. Cobwebs fill the dark room, blood splattered beside a cold corpse, deathly silent. In the dim light, the body leans against an iron shelf, the terrifying silence swallowing the space. Youngmin's body trembled in pain. He slowly opened his eyes. He struggled to lift his head and look towards the door ahead. Youngmin braced himself and crawled towards it. He trembled, gasping, "Water!" His bloodied footsteps faltered, his body exhausted with each step. He was weary, each step filled with pain and exhaustion. His figure swayed in the emptiness, each step filled with pain and exhaustion. He reached out his bloodied hand to touch the doorknob, but when he tried to force it open, it wouldn't budge. Youngmin pressed harder in fear. The piercing clang of metal rang out. He angrily slammed against the door a few times. Damn it, what the hell? The banging sound mixed with his curses. I wasn't the only one who slept with that bitch. Tears started welling up in his eyes. Why am I the only one being punished? Seeing that his shoulder wasn't working, Youngman slammed hard on the door. Damn it! Why are you locking me in here? His hands started to bleed. Let me out! He collapsed, exhausted. Let me out. The pent-up despair made him choke up. His lips trembled, unable to speak, and tears slowly streamed down his cheeks. Suddenly, he opened his eyes and stared at something. He gasped in surprise. His eyes were fixed on the small window. Youngman wiped his tears with his bloody hand, thinking, I can't die here, in the cold space, with the dim light. His laughter echoed. KK. Cut to the National Intelligence Service of South Korea. Jae-young is shaking hands with someone. I'm Prosecutor Jo Jae-young. The other man replies, Pleased to meet you. I'm Min Dong-guk. Dong-guk gestures. Please, have a seat, Jae-young politely says. Thank you. 2 steaming cups of coffee are placed on the table. Dong-guk says, I know you're busy, so I'll get straight to the point. Are you aware of Black River Trading, which we operate? He was surprised, saying, Oh, I just found out about that this morning. He continued, If I knew that company was run by you, I never would have gotten involved. It wasn't intentional. But I apologize if I caused any trouble, whether I did or not. Dong-guk smiled. All right, then I should ask a different question, he said slyly. Also, there are rumors that you've been tracking Kim Jin. Can I ask why? Jae-young opened the document. I'm not sure I can reveal all the details, but he handed over the paper. There's a warrant out for him, for violating the Personal Information Protection Act, kidnapping, extortion, and more. He continued, After investigating, we found out he works at Black River Trading, which is why we were there. Dong-guk picked up the paper. You said extortion and kidnapping? Jae-young replied. Yes. He stares and contemplates. He speaks up. Prosecutor Joe, you must realize Jin Kim is an employee of our company. His face twitches slightly at Dong-guk's words. What do you say we end this here and drop all charges? He smirks. It's the best way for both of us. Jae-young exhales uncomfortably. His veins bulge. Do you know who that bastard kidnapped? My son. Unable to remain calm, he slams the table, yelling, He kidnapped Jo Youngman, my son! He stands up. He kidnapped my son. And you're telling me to pretend nothing happened? Are you kidding me? He's my son. Jae-young's words grew louder. I will never forgive whoever kidnapped my son. And I warn you, if the Secret Service tries to cover this up, I will make sure you all pay. Dong-guk listened silently to his anger. I won't let that happen. I will use all my resources to expose you. He was furious. That a Secret Service agent kidnapped a prosecutor's son. Do you think that's acceptable in a country ruled by law? Tell me. He turned his head, trying to suppress a laugh as if he'd heard a joke. He interrupted. Don't play games, he asked suspiciously. What? Dong-guk ordered. Frank, get out, he replied. Yes, sir. The sound of a door closing echoed. Only then did he look at Jae-young sinisterly. Prosecutor Joe, he's stating a shocking truth. So, in our nation, governed by the rule of law, you're saying it's normal for a prosecutor's son to kidnap and sexually assault a Secret Service agent's daughter? Dong-guk smiles, as if he has Jae-young in the palm of his hand. He's stunned, unable to respond. He continues. Recently, there's a record of Jin Kim using facial recognition to track down 5 people. He listens silently as he says, I'm sure you already know, but those 5 people are you, Minister Lee Young-yong, K University Director Nam Song-ki, Council Member Seo In-gyu, and finally, Dong-guk scoffs. DD Group's Im Hak-soo, who does dirty work for others, how fitting. He calmly picks up his coffee cup. I wondered why Kim Jin was checking up on you 5. So, I investigated as well. And interestingly, you all have one thing in common. He raises his coffee cup. That the victim was sexually assaulted by all of your children. Well, except for Im Hak-soo. That's a bit puzzling. I'm not sure why Jin was looking into him. He continued, piquing his curiosity. And besides, I discovered some other interesting things. Dong-guk took a sip of coffee, starting with the $20,000 deposit to the police officer in charge of the case, from someone named Han Soo-hee. Pastor Nam Song-ki was also suspected of being favored when he became the director of the Y nursing program at K University. He looked at Jae-young and asked, And then I found out that you, Prosecutor Joe, defended him and got him acquitted, didn't you? Jae-young stammered, Are you trying to blackmail me? He smiled. Blackmail you? I wouldn't dare. Dong-guk hinted, I'm just stating facts, things that haven't been made public yet. Just consider it a form of insurance. He interlaced his fingers. Prosecutor Joe. His face turned sinister. I only want one thing, for this matter to pass quietly. I'm a pretty indifferent person, so the thing I hate most is noise and trouble. He heard it all, but remained silent. The white car sped down the road. Jae-young sat in the car, driving and thinking. What about my son? I told you he was kidnapped. Are you telling me to just stand by and watch? You said you'd investigate and get back to me. Isn't it wrong to suspect him of something like that based solely on my word? Don't you think so? He angrily slammed his hand on the steering wheel. He just cursed in frustration. He knows everything, yet he pretends not to. Does he think I don't know he's covering for Jin? Just because they work together? Jae-young thought to himself. Damn it. I can't just sit back and let them push me around. Is there anything I can use to pressure them? Cut to the E-Mart supermarket building. Kim Jin is taking items off the shelf. The clatter of a cart echoes. A phone ding catches his attention. Youngmin sends a message. Meet me at Sadang Station, exit 14 in an hour. Kim Jin reads it and remains silent. Sunlight streams into the desolate house in the woods, dispelling the gloomy atmosphere. Youngmin looks out the window and curses. Damn it! He climbs onto the wooden shelf. Can I get a moment's rest? He immediately turns his head back. He looks down. On the table are tools, an axe and a hammer. A screwdriver is wedged into the window frame. A bang rings out as a hammer strikes the screwdriver. Youngmin strikes hard with both hands. Sweat pours down his face. I have to get out of here before that bastard gets back. The clear sky is illuminated by the sun. A foot stands in front of a golf ball. A thwack, and someone sends a golf ball flying. Applause from the people around. Cheers and clapping intermingle. Good shot. Well done. He raises his hand, signaling for silence. Shh. The golf ball soars through the air. A thud. Ah, it's in the bunker, someone says. That's bad luck. Chairman Yong. He turns his head. I thought my swing was pretty good, but it was a little off. The chairman handed his golf club to the person behind him, saying golf is like life. You think you're doing well, but there's always a gust of wind that can throw you off course. He chuckled. You're absolutely right, sir. Haksu approached the chairman with his phone. Sir, he reported. Prosecutor Joe called for you. He said it's urgent. He was surprised. Urgent? He took the phone. Prosecutor Joe, what do I owe the pleasure? He continued. Of course I remember. I told you that you didn't need to worry about that, didn't I? Suddenly, he heard something that made his eyes widen. He stammered. What? That girl's father is a NIS agent? The chairman was stunned. What? That girl's father is a NIS agent? Jae-young on the other end said, Yes, I was just at their headquarters about that matter. He turned to the person next to him. Hold on a second. He waved his hand. Yes, sir. He worried. Oh, geez, this is a headache. What did they say? He replied. Our situation is a mess. They found out I sent $20,000 to the investigator in charge of the case. Mechanical sounds rang out. They also know that Pastor Nam was favored when he was appointed director. The chairman hummed. He continued. So they know everything we've done? He emphasized. Yes, they didn't say it directly, but they implied that if we touch Jin, they'll expose everything. He sighed. Fine, then don't touch Jin anymore. That settles it, right? He interrupted. But Jae-young's words startled him. My son's been kidnapped. I can't just sit here. He stammered. Your son's been kidnapped? Who did it? That Jin Kim? He's certain. It's him, isn't it? The chairman sighed. I'm really in a bind. He lowered his voice. I'm sorry, sir. He was silent, not knowing what else to say. He paused for a long moment. So, what do you want to do now? Jae-young's eyes were filled with murderous intent. I have to catch that bastard, no matter what. The engine revved. With a guy like him, he won't stop with my son. I know he'll target Pastor Nam's son, or Minister Lee's child, maybe even your grandson. The chairman looked worried. My grandson? We can't let that happen. Standing by the lake, he said. Prosecutor Joe, this shouldn't be discussed over the phone. Let's meet in person. Yes, it's best to call Minister Lee and Assemblyman SEO as well, once you've set a date and time. Let Haksu know, and I'll be there. He replied with 2 short sentences. Okay. The chairman hung up and handed the phone to Haksu. He was silent. His face wrinkled as if he had aged 10 years. A golf ball was floating in the lake. He gritted his teeth and cursed. Damn it! Cut to under the Sadang Station pillar. Kim Jin stood there with his hands in his pockets. Suddenly, a car stopped in front of him. Dongguk rolled down the window and said, Get in. He opened the door and got in. The car started moving. The atmosphere inside was naturally silent. The man spoke first. I heard about what happened recently. My condolences. He calmly replied. Thank you. The man continued. Earlier, the prosecutor visited the office. Dong-guk looks through the glass, constantly saying that your county kidnapped his son. Is that true? Kim Jin turns his head to look out. Yes. He turns his head back. What are you planning to do now? Their eyes meet. He answers with a sharp question. You have a daughter too, right? Remembering his daughter, he smiles slightly. Yes, I do. Suddenly, he says something that makes Dong-guk's face freeze. If your daughter was raped by a group of boys, and then she chose to end her life because she couldn't bear the pain, what would you do? Dong-guk is silent, unsure of what to say. Then he sighed. He seemed to understand everything, and said, I understand what you're saying. If I were you, I'd do the same. Kim Jin listened to him in silence, but he knew. We can't just kidnap or kill people without orders. The car stopped due to traffic, and Dong-guk spoke up. Hey, Jin, he explained his plan. I want you back in the office within 24 hours. As your superior, that's the only thing I can do. He silently looked back at him. Kim Jin sighed heavily. What am I supposed to do with that prosecutor's son? Dong-guk thought about it. Well, that's up to you. A headless corpse in the corner, made to look like you did it yourself. The cops shine a light. Find a mannequin or something, and we can rule you out as the mastermind. Youngmin's body is slumped in a chair, covered in blood, in his suicide note. He wrote that he committed the crime because he couldn't control his anger at the unfair legal system, so they can't do anything. Dong-guk slowly lights a cigarette. Then, after a few years, kills them off one by one, pretending they died in accidents, so no one will connect it to this case. He looks up at the glass. How's that? Kim Jin sighs. Just the way you do it, huh? He smiles. Yeah, exactly how I'd do it. He stares thoughtfully out the car window. Suddenly, he mentioned the past. I still remember my first day at the office, 20 years ago. We must understand that an agent is willing to break the law if it benefits the country. A door was kicked open. That's the fate of a field agent. Inside were a naked man and woman. Since then, I've done what's necessary to eliminate any threat to this country. The guy panicked and grabbed the gun on the table, but he got a bullet to the head from him. The woman was so shocked by what she saw, she didn't react. He raised his gun again. Do you know what I told myself every time I killed someone? Even if my actions are cruel and cold-blooded, I'm doing it so my daughter can live in a safe country. She's scared. Please, don't kill me. Tears slowly welled in her eyes, streaming down her cheeks. Please. But he coldly fired the gun. That's the only reason I keep fighting. The only goal in my life. To protect my daughter. But those bastards ruined the only goal in my life. I will never forgive them. Kim Jin gritted his teeth. This thirst for revenge won't let me pretend their deaths were just an accident. His words were filled with murderous intent and resentment. Thanks for the advice, but they have to die. Die in regret they've never tasted, and pain they never imagined. Dong-guk took a long drag. Tsk, tsk. Well, we're back to square one. It's 6:05 past 6 o'clock, time to get off work and go home. The car brakes screech. The car door clicks open. Before Kim Jin gets out, the man turns his head. Hey, Jin, he instructs. Don't forget, I want you back in the office within 24 hours, not a minute late. Got it? He says goodbye. See you later. He gets out of the car and closes the door. Kim Jin slowly blends into the crowded street. In the car, Dong-guk watched his figure. He couldn't help but sigh. So stubborn. Night fell again, and the dim moonlight covered the sky. Kim Jin, carrying a bag, entered the abandoned house. He stepped inside, the iron door creaking. Suddenly, his eyes fell on the wooden shelf. In front of him, the iron grate on the air vent had been pried open. He went outside, shone the light on the door, and stood there frozen. The wind makes the swinging metal sheet creak. Kim Jin's face remained chillingly calm. He slowly lowered his head to the ground. Below were Youngmin's bloodstains. He knelt down near the bloodstains. Kim Jin's hand gently rubbed the bloodstains. The blood wasn't completely dry. He couldn't have gone far. He shone the light to one side. The bloodstains formed a straight line. That way leads to the high mountains. Damn it, I hate climbing mountains in the middle of the night. Now up in the mountains, in the dark forest. Urgent, heavy thumping sounds echo. Youngmin, covered in blood, pants heavily, trying to run for his life. That night, at the main building, in the VIP room, the atmosphere is eerily silent. Someone stirs their black coffee and speaks. An undercover agent for the Secret Service, huh? What does that mean? The man sitting across from me adjusted his glasses. Government spies operating abroad are divided into two types: legal agents and undercover agents. Legal agents go abroad and approach diplomats or officials who have sources of information. If they are caught collecting information, they are granted diplomatic immunity and will only be deported. Undercover agents, on the other hand, disguise themselves as missionaries or business people to secretly gather information. Unlike legal agents, if undercover agents are caught trying to steal information, They will not admit to working for the government, and the government will deny that they work for the Secret Service. Because if either side admits it, it implicitly confirms that the government has placed spies in another country. Therefore, if caught, undercover agents will be prosecuted under the laws of the country that arrested them, and may even be executed. He shuddered as he recalled Kim Jin's figure. Nana didn't understand the issue. She compared it, saying, "You're saying undercover agents are like James Bond in the movies, right?" He immediately admitted, "Yes, that's right." Nana didn't care. She seemed to believe in her decision. "Are you serious? You want me to believe that bitch is the daughter of a government agent? Do you think I'm stupid?" He sighed and shook his head in dismay. I was surprised too, but since the intelligence agency confirmed it, we had no choice but to believe it. He was terrified, his whole body trembling, drawing the attention of the other two. The trading company he claimed to work for was indeed a shell company set up by the intelligence agency. So, my superiors reprimanded me for messing with their people. The guy next to him called out, startling him. "Assemblyman Ingyu Seo, are you all right? You look pale." Ingyu Seo's face turned pale with fear as he stammered. "Oh, now that you mention it, I think he's the one who saved me in China," he asked, puzzled, repeating, "Saved you? Really?" Memories flooding back, Ingyu Seo recounted. "You remember when I choked on coffee in the office? It was right when he walked through the door, even though he's dressed differently. That face? It's the same person I met in China, which is why I was so startled." He quickly grabbed him, asking urgently, "Why don't you just ask him if you two met in China?" Ingyu Seo cautiously covered his mouth and whispered, "Because he looks the same, but his aura is completely different." His eyes changed. "In your office, he looks like an ordinary office worker. But in China, he's a completely different person, full of murderous intent. Just think about it. Can you imagine that Four Eyes easily taking down 5 or 6 armed men?" Youngmin slid down, grabbing onto the tree trunk. He stepped down as lightly as possible. Suddenly, something caught his attention. Through the leaves, a small light from a box appeared. "Is that a public phone?" Youngmin rushed over and opened the door. He walked heavily inside. The lights in the booth suddenly came on. Without much thought, Youngmin stared intently at the phone. Youngmin warily picked up the phone. "I'm already tired, and now I have to figure out how to make a call?" He cursed in frustration. "Damn it. How does this thing even work? I've never touched one of these in my life." Finally, Youngmin decided, "I'll just press the emergency call button first, then call the police." In the pitch-black night, something was rushing towards him very quickly. It was getting closer and closer. That strange thing shattered the phone booth window. He crouched down in fear. Youngmin's face was pale. What the hell? That thing, a bizarre stick, touched his painful hand. Youngmin tremblingly grabbed it, fighting the pain. Youngmin pulled it out. It was a terrifyingly long, twisted needle. He paled as he looked at the sharp needle. What the heck is this? Something flashed from outside, aimed directly at Youngmin. Another needle pierced his face with lightning speed. Fearing something bad would happen, Youngmin quickly pulled the needle out. Before he knew it, another needle came flying at breakneck speed. Now, he couldn't even resist if he wanted to. His eyes glazed over, and he slowly collapsed. Youngmin barely managed to say, "Not again." Finally, he collapsed under the phone booth. The lights go out in the distance, and someone is spying with binoculars. It's Kim Jin, sweating and panting with exhaustion. He says dejectedly, "I wish I were young enough to run that fast. I almost lost him." Back at the luxurious building, down a dark hallway, without a single light, Nana turns to probe. "So you're saying he handled something on his own that should have required a whole special ops team?" "Yes." Ingyu Seo fearfully recalls the horrific scene in the car. "After I was rescued, I got out and saw that all the kidnappers were injured, and one of them looked dead." Hearing this, she doesn't show a hint of fear, but instead gives a cunning smile. Nana gently placed her teacup down, dismissing his words. "I'm sorry, but I think you're exaggerating, even if he's an agent. I don't think he could handle a group of armed men with his bare hands." Ingyu Seo gestured emphatically, defending himself. "What do I gain from exaggerating? I'm just telling you what I saw." Seeing the tension rising, he intervened. All right, let's both calm down." He looked back and forth, advising them. "We're not here to debate whether he did it or not. We're here to figure out how to deal with him. First, the kidnapping of Prosecutor Joe's son, then the security issue. These are the things we need to address." Just then, a knock sounded. "Come in." He and his bodyguard entered. Everyone stood up to greet him respectfully. "Chairman," he responded politely, "I apologize for being late. Did I keep you all waiting? No, sir. He offered an explanation for his tardiness. I had to receive a very important guest. I hope you all understand, he said, then turned towards the door, gesturing a welcome. Let me introduce him. Light footsteps are approaching. He's setting the stage for the introduction. Some of you probably already know him. This is Kim Sehun, the head of the intelligence agency. He greets them with a forced smile. Hello, it's a pleasure to meet you all. Meanwhile, at an old, dilapidated house deep in the mountains, someone with a water jug is planning something for the person slumped in the chair. He splashes a bucket of ice-cold water on Youngmin's head to wake him up. Water dripped down in bursts. He opened his eyes in fear. The water kept pouring over him, so cold. He coughed wearily, several times. The mysterious man said, Awake, it's time to begin. He turned away, muttering something. It's time to confess. I want you to look straight at the camera and clearly confess what you and your friends did to my daughter, in detail. However, every time I catch you lying or making things up, you'll lose a finger. Got it? Now let's begin. Back to the dark hallway. The party was coming to an end. Today's meeting was really good. Sehun respectfully greeted them before leaving, saying he was happy to meet such good people and that he felt like a VIP. They humbly replied, It's nothing. We were happy to meet you too. Before leaving, he carefully instructed, Mr. Kim, please deal with Kim Jin. Sehun's face was eerie, his words full of mystery. All right, whether they're an agent or not, anyone who commits a crime must be held accountable before the law. I'll report it to the inspector in the morning so they can start working. Don't worry too much. We all saw the director and the others off to their car. He said goodbye to everyone before getting in and driving off completely, saying he'd see us next time, to take care, and that he hoped to see us all soon. Sehun opened the door and the brightly lit car sped away. After he left, he complimented him. You're really something. Chairman Yang, he was curious. What do you mean? He gave a sly smile and praised him. Even the director of the intelligence agency listens to you. Turns out we were worrying too much. Nana. He happily chimed in. With enough money, even ghosts will listen. But ghosts would probably demand a higher price than him. They laughed at that. Now that the intelligence matter is settled, we need to address security. She turned and called out, Hey, Haksu. Yes, Minister? She ordered, adding carefully, Find well-trained bodyguards for the kids. I want 2 guarding each of them, and about 4 or 5 with us. Haksu immediately acknowledged. Yes, I'll call my team. Suddenly, someone raised their hand to stop that idea. I don't think so. Knowing how to fight doesn't mean you're a good bodyguard. It's best to find someone with good teamwork, like a martial artist, not some gangster. He then made another request. Haksu, I want you to find a reputable security company and get me someone trustworthy enough to handle the job. Don't worry about the money. Yes, sir. Growing tired of listening, he asked, Oh, Haksu, how many people are on your team? Haksu thought for a moment and gave the most accurate number. About 50 people. Relieved to hear that. He made a suggestion. Then I want you to gather everyone and find my son. I don't care what you do. I'll handle this. Just do everything you can to find Youngmin before he's killed. Haksu smiled strangely, his intentions unclear. Understood, sir. The scene in front of the white building looked cold and eerily silent. Go inside. Someone knocked on the door, and a voice from inside said, Come in. Footsteps entered. A discreet man entered. You called for me, sir? From afar, an ashtray came flying. The man dodged it just in time, but the ashtray shattered. He glanced up, looking displeased but helpless. That chairman, hands on his hips, said, Why don't you dare kill your subordinates? He shouted angrily. The man looked confused and stunned. In a crowded building. Inside, a faded photo of a deceased person appears. Sunja sits blankly, staring at the portrait. Then she was distracted by a knock at the door. She went to the door and asked, Who is it? A voice on the other side said, We're from the prosecutor's office. Sunja looked worried and asked, The prosecutor's office? What do you need? The voice said, We received information regarding your son. We're here to inform you. She slipped on her shoes and said, My son? They confirmed. Yes. Your son's name is Kim Jin, isn't it? Sunja pressed the button to open the door. Please wait a moment. She opened the door to a tall, imposing man wearing glasses, looking mysterious. She asked, What happened to him? He smirked, then said, Not yet, but soon. Something bad is about to happen, she said with a frightened look. What? He covered her mouth. The phone rang over here. He was mixing noodles when he suddenly heard the phone. He picked it up. Wiping his mouth, he said, Haksu, I was waiting for your call. How's it going? Haksu replied. We've caught his mother. I just got a call saying they're bringing her to the warehouse. I'm on my way there now, Jae-young said, settling the bill. Good, well done. Stepping out the door. He exclaimed, She definitely has a number to contact Jin. Get the information out of her. Torture her if you have to. Just get the number. The other end clearly replied, "Yes, sir, when you contact him. Tell him we'll trade his mother for my son. If he knows what's happening, he'll definitely try to save his mother." Getting into the car, he continued listening. "And when he arrives, take care of him, and his mother too." Haksu asked, confused. "Aren't you going to capture him?" He said, "You know what the situation is now. If that guy survives and talks, we're all in trouble, including Chairman Yang." "It's okay. The intelligence agency doesn't care about him. Just kill him. I told you yesterday I'll take full responsibility if anything happens," Haksu replied. "Understood, sir." In the darkness, the electric lights shone brightly. Someone covered in blood was lying right next to him. Above, someone was hanging suspended on the wall. His body trembled, and sweat poured down like rain. The sweat poured down more and more. He started to lift his head. He slowly pushed himself up with his hands. Then he lay face down, sweating profusely. His body contorted, sweat soaking him from head to toe. Suddenly, the phone rang. Kim Jin jumped down. He walked over, picked up the phone, and said, "Kim Jin here." The man on the other end said, "Listen carefully. I have a feeling Prosecutor Joe is up to something behind my back. The director just fired him and ordered his arrest." He went into his office and continued, "I just received the news myself. I'm sorry, but I don't think you can come back." "I'm sorry for what happened," Kim Jin replied. "It's okay." He then asked, "How is Prosecutor Joe's son?" He replied, "He's still with me." On the other end of the line, he confided, "Listen, if you want revenge, do it quickly and flee the country. If this gets out, all hell will break loose. An intelligence agent breaking the law, there'll be press conferences, it'll be even worse. Anyway, the agency doesn't want things to get worse. Prosecutor Joe will probably pull any trick. And if that happens, they'll make a deal and send someone to take you out. Remember that and stay safe. From now on, unless it's urgent, I won't call you. I'm sorry, but it's to protect myself. If I call and tell you to come back, it means the agency is forcing me to. Good luck. Kim Jin." "I understand." He seemed a little down after hanging up, and slammed the phone down on the table. Kim Jin's head was full of thoughts at this moment. Then he turned to look at something. Guns were appearing on the table in front of him. He looked at them, lost in thought for a moment. Then he picked up something like a bullet. He loaded it into the gun. Kim Jin loaded the gun, ready to explode. He stepped forward and said, Sorry, but I don't think I can keep my promise to your father." Kim Jin pointed the gun straight at his rival's son's head. He's in a shooting stance. Suddenly his phone rings, distracting him. The ringing gets louder and louder, but he holds his position, determined to fire. Finally, Kim Jin lowers his gun. He breathes a sigh of relief. He walks over to the phone. His mother's number is displayed on the screen. Kim Jin quickly answers the phone. "Yes, this is me, Mom." The voice on the other end stuns him. "Sorry, but I'm not who you're expecting." Haksu is standing in front of his mother, speaking into the phone. Haksu says mockingly, "Intelligence agent Kim Jin." The corner of Haksu's mouth curls up. Behind him is Sunja, tied to a chair with his men. With a smug look, Haksu taunts, "Or should I call you Chief Kim Jin?" His body drenched in sweat. Kim Jin asks suspiciously, "Who is this?" Haksu teases, "Take a guess." Haksu looked at the distant mountains, sounding amused. "An undercover agent who can't even recognize a voice?" Kim Jin's face hardened with worry, while the higher-ups watched from behind. He frowned, not recognizing his voice. "I'm guessing it's Haksu, the DD team leader." Haksu seemed pleased. "Impressive, isn't it?" Haksu glanced at Sunja, who was tied to a chair, and spoke with a veiled meaning. "But I wonder why someone as smart as you would leave your mother alone." Haksu continued, "If you knew what kind of person I was, you should have taken her to a safe place, don't you think?" Haksu looked at Sunja, who was gagged in front of him, and coldly concluded, "You're a terrible son." Standing in the blood-splattered room, Kim Jin got straight to the point. "Cut the crap. What do you want?" Haksu looks murderous. "Is Young Minjo alive?" Kim Jin looked at the person lying on the board behind him and replied, "Yeah, he's right here next to me." Haksu immediately requested, "Put him on the phone." Kim Jin gently kicked the person lying on the ground. "Hey, wake up." Youngmin slowly opened his eyes. Kim Jin handed him the phone. "It's for you." Youngmin was surprised. "What?" Youngmin answered the phone. "Hello?" On the other end, Haksu asked, "Is this Joe Youngmin?" Holding the phone, Youngmin asked suspiciously with a stutter, Yes, this is me. Who is this?" Haksu introduced himself. "I'm a friend of your father's. I'm coming to save you, so don't worry too much." Youngmin was surprised. Youngmin was overjoyed. "Really? Thank you," he cheered. "Thanks for calling." Youngmin handed the phone to Kim Jin. "He wants to talk to you." Kim Jin answered, looking anxious. "Hello?" The other end replied, "It's okay." Haksu proposed, "I'm sure you understand. Youngmin in exchange for your mother, standing on an abandoned building." He gave the address. "I want you to come to 34 Hwanri, Hobeopmyeon, Icheon, Gyeonggi Province. When you arrive, you'll see a 5-story building." Haksu demanded, "I want you to bring Youngmin here before 10 p.m. tonight." Hearing this, Kim Jin couldn't help but worry. Haksu smirked triumphantly. "Do you understand?" The city sky gradually darkened, with dark clouds gathering to obscure the last rays of sunlight. The scene cuts to a store with a sign that reads, "Pyeongtaek Gun Shop, phone number 02-555-8912, specializing in guns and related items." A hand is slowly pouring liquor. Just then, Kim Jin pushes the door open and enters. The gun seller quickly stands up. "You're here," Kim Jin coldly asks. "What about the gun?" The seller takes out a large box. "Everything's ready." The gun seller opens the box. Inside is a gun. "Here, take a look." Kim Jin reaches out and touches the gun. He picks it up, removing the scope to inspect it. The gun seller crosses his arms and explains. "It weighs about 5 kilos without the scope." Kim Jin takes aim, the rifle equipped with a 39x40 scope and a 5-round magazine. The gun dealer points out, "As you requested, there's no bipod, which will make hitting the target much harder." Kim Jin holds the rifle and says, "Impressive work." He puts the rifle back in the case and compliments him. "You did a good job." Kim Jin offers a card. "This is a bank account in your name." He places the card on the table and instructs. "The account password is the last 4 digits of the store's phone number. It's the least I can do for you." Kim Jin puts on his glasses. "Take care of yourself." With that, he picks up the case and turns to leave. When the gun dealer saw the information on the card, he stammered. 10 million. Wait, $10 million? His face froze in shock. "Wait, don't you think that's too much?" The gun dealer rushed outside and shouted, "Huh, they're gone!" He could only watch the car disappear into the distance. On the deserted road, a car sped past. Inside the car, Kim Jin was driving, while Youngmin was tied up in the back seat. The car stopped at the Icheon-Majang and Bangdo-Hai-ri intersection. Kim Jin stood next to the car, looking out into the distance, through the scope. He zoomed in on the target area and saw many bodyguards surrounding it. Switching his view to the entrance, he saw 2 more guards on watch. After assessing the situation, Kim Jin quietly lowered the scope. He slowly walked towards the back of the car. Youngmin inside, watching curiously. The trunk popped open smoothly. The luggage compartment was filled to the brim with weapons and gear. To prepare for the breathtaking action scenes to come, please subscribe to the Miss Manhwa channel. Kim Jin took off his vest to change into combat gear. He calmly removed each item in the middle of the deserted forest. His movements became decisive and utterly serious. He put on his bulletproof vest, the last piece of equipment. Kim Jin carefully knelt down and tightened his shoelaces. A dagger was hidden in a small pouch wrapped around his calf. He also hid another knife on his thigh. Youngmin anxiously listened to the sounds from behind, but was helpless to do anything. After finishing his preparations, the trunk was closed gently. Kim Jin moved to the front and opened the car door. He leaned in and ordered, "Crouch down!" Terrified, Youngmin immediately obeyed. Then, Kim Jin suddenly pulled out a grenade. Youngmin flinched at the sight of it. Kim Jin's hand right on the safety pin made Youngmin panic even more. A grenade? What was he planning to do? The order continued. "Now, slowly lean back." Youngmin crouched low, but his eyes anxiously followed the grenade. Kim Jin placed the grenade right behind him, with the pin loosened. "Once I've set everything up, I'll explain. Listen up. I'm going into that building to save my mother." Cold sweat broke out on Youngmin's forehead. "If all goes well, I'll be back in 1, 2, 3 hours at most. If I don't come back, those idiots will probably come to save you. If they do, you're done for." Youngmin was still leaning against the grenade. "The thing between your back and the seat is the safety pin. As soon as you lift your back, the pin will come out and the grenade will explode." As he spoke, Kim Jin slowly closed the car door. "So, if you want to live, I advise you not to move. Got it?" Youngmin fearfully watched Kim Jin until he disappeared, only hearing the faint words, "Good luck." The car was parked on a deserted late-night road, surrounded only by thick bushes. Kim Jin headed towards the abandoned building, where a few lights still flickered. He put on his mask, his eyes never leaving the target. He reached for the rifle on the roof of the car. Fully equipped, he began to move towards the building. Not a sound broke the stillness of the night. Kim Jin's shoes landed softly on the ground. He approached a concrete utility pole, tangled with wires above. His gun barrel pointed up, aimed directly at the wires. Kim Jin squinted slightly to adjust his aim. The building in the middle of nowhere remained silent. But a second later, all the lights went out. The guards inside looked up, confused. They looked at each other and said, "Power outage. Anyone got a lighter?" Haksu put his chopsticks down and said, "Give me a flashlight." Haksu checked the time on his phone. "You're earlier than I thought." Haksu smirked, having figured everything out. "Agent." Kim Jin followed the concrete wall outside the old building. His sharp eyes followed the situation inside. After the power outage, everything was shrouded in mysterious darkness. He got a running start and jumped straight through a window. His hands quickly grabbed the ledge, using his strength to pull himself up and climb inside. Kim Jin landed neatly on the floor without making a sound. He quickly found a concrete pillar to hide behind. He put his specialized night vision goggles over his eyes. The scene inside appeared clearly through the lenses. Kim Jin thought to himself, "Let's begin. The infiltration has officially begun, and to not miss the next chapter, please subscribe and turn on notifications for the Miss Manhwa channel today." Even with the power out, the gangsters weren't panicking at all. Two of them went to a dark corner to smoke together. The embers glowed on their cigarettes as smoke puffed from their mouths. Suddenly, a guy holding a lamp came over and said, "Hey." He was wearing sunglasses and looked very fierce. "Is the second floor secure?" One of them smiled and replied, "Not even an ant could get through. You don't have to worry." Hearing this, he continued on. "Always be vigilant. Don't be careless. Got it? I'm going to check the first floor." They replied sternly. "Understood," the other one added. "It's pretty dark down there. Be careful." Kai, holding the lamp, continued downstairs. "I know." He was one flight of stairs away. Only the sound of his footsteps echoed. One of them asked curiously, "Hey, they're worried about some agent." His accomplice nonchalantly took a drag of his cigarette. "He's not Superman." He shrugged. "I mean, there are so many of us. If we surround him and use knives, he's done for, right?" The other one chuckled in agreement. "Of course." But the person they were talking about had arrived with a knife in his hand. Kim Jin spoke, startling them. "Want to tell me how many of you there are?" Before he could say anything, he received a fatal stab. He pulled out his weapon, splattering blood everywhere. It accidentally got into the other guy's eyes, blinding him. He should punch him right in the face and knock him out. The noise from upstairs quickly attracted Kai. He frowned. "Hey, what's going on the second floor?" No one answered him, only an eerie silence. He repeated loudly, "Are you listening to me?" This time, someone answered him, "It's too dark up here. So I fell, sorry." The guys with Kai laughed at him. "What an idiot. Where are your eyes?" After saying that, he quickly turned around with a fearful look, with a knife to his throat. Kim Jin calmly spoke to him. "Well done. You're proving useful." He pinned the guy down and started threatening him. "I actually don't want to kill you." The other guy's lifeless body was still next to them. "If you answer my questions, you won't end up like your friend. Got it?" He immediately complied. "I'll tell you everything I know." Kim Jin asked directly, "Where's my mother? How many people are here in total?" The guy hesitated. "Your mother is probably on the 4th floor. There are about 40 people or more here. There are about 5 or 6 at the main entrance on the 1st floor, 10 on the 3rd and 4th floors each, and another 20 are coming soon." Hearing that, he sighed. "That many? Thanks for the information." But he still didn't let him go. "I'm going to check how many people are on each floor. If you lied, I'll rip your throat out. Understand?" The man below trembled and swore. "I didn't lie." He pulled the dagger from his neck. "Okay, right after." He slammed the guy's head into the floor. The guy immediately lost consciousness, and Kim Jin left his body. Right next to him were the stairs to the 3rd floor, so he slowly went up. He kept a firm grip on his gun, ready for any attackers. He saw a guard busy doing something by the window. He happily exclaimed. Having just won a game, unaware he was in someone's sights. His eyes were glued to his phone screen, so he easily approached. The binoculars on his left eye swiveled to the nearby path. There are a few guys blocking the end of the road as well. Kim Jin carefully analyzes the situation. 4 guards. The rest must be inside. They're busy chatting, so he manages to sneak past. The knife hidden under his foot is what he's taking out this time. Just then, the guard's game beeps. The knife is at his throat as he instinctively curses. "Damn it, I'm dead." A painful groan echoes from the stairs. The remaining 4 guards quickly notice. They looked at each other suspiciously and said, "What's going on? Let's go check." Kim Jin took care of him, and now he's lying still on the floor. "Hey, Sangsik." They walked over together, muttering, "That idiot." The leader frowned and ordered him, "Stop messing around and answer me." But the first person he met was Kim Jin. The knife in his hand decisively stabbed him in the throat. He kicked the leader back in front of his bewildered comrades. The person next to him, pale as a ghost, exclaimed, "Young Sung!" He angrily wanted revenge, but Kim Jin punched him. Son of a bitch. They immediately pulled out the knives they had hidden. He was swinging wildly, so you easily dodged. Kim Jin slipped past him and held his weapon to his opponent's neck. You slashed across his neck, taking him down instantly. The other guy immediately charged in without thinking. Damn it! The fight attracted the attention of the guys in the room. What's all the commotion? The sight of the unlucky guy's corpse made them jump. The whole apartment complex is in an uproar, alerting each other. He's here. Code red. Code red. Haksu, on a high floor, looks surprised at the shouting. Kai also turns to listen more clearly to their news. He exclaims, "Which floor?" The person upstairs urgently says, "He's on the 3rd floor. Hurry." They bend down and run into the apartment. "Everyone to the 3rd floor, now!" "Yes, sir." Kai takes the gun from behind his pants, bringing a weapon. He smirks smugly. The only solution is to put a bullet in his head. On this side, Haski's bodyguards aggressively attack Kim Jin. "Die!" Faster than his fists was your knife. The sharp blade pierced his thigh, and red blood splattered. The pain numbed him, and he screamed in agony. Taking advantage of this, you kicked him in the back of the neck. The bodyguard's entire body tumbled down the stairs to the 2nd floor. He curled up and didn't dare open his eyes. Finally, he crashed painfully onto the floor. Another attacked with a wooden stick, but you blocked it. They've got 2 guys trying to overpower him. What do you think? Kim Jin's night vision goggles were knocked back. But he didn't panic. He turned and dodged the blow. The weapon in his hand once again strikes a vital point on his opponent. Another one falls. People are running out of the building and climbing up the stairs. They're all rushing in like hungry tigers. Over there, the broken wooden stick was about to be swung high, but it was caught. Die. He controls him with one hand and stabs straight down with the other. He scrambled to pull up his pants, then rolled away helplessly. Kim Jin immediately dropped low and stuck a leg out in front of the one who'd just missed his stab. As his face turned, he caught a kick. He was knocked back, while the other man managed to stand up. Several shots from behind were aimed right at his back. Kai was the one firing, making the others around him shudder, startled. He smugly took off his sunglasses. "All right, Agent, where do you want the next one?" Kim Jin groaned softly before his gun. He quickly ran away from the danger zone. More shots were fired, but he managed to dodge them all. He jumped straight into the passage, his body sliding across the floor. Kai chuckled to himself. Wow, that was quick. He quickly went up the stairs. "I can't see anything. Point the light over there, you idiot." The subordinate next to him immediately obeyed. "Yes, sir." The man peered into where he had jumped. "Hey, Agent." He held his gun steady to threaten him. "Now you're out of options." But contrary to what he thought, there wasn't a soul inside. My eyes suddenly caught sight of the dagger discarded nearby. The red blood staining it hadn't dried yet and was splattered around the knife. Kai mocked him. "Don't hide anymore. Just come out and let's have an interesting fight. What do you say?" He and his henchmen looked at each other and nodded in understanding. He pointed his gun into the dark room and fired continuously. Immediately after, the bodyguards quickly rushed into the place. They were all armed, but they were fooled again. Kim Jin on the opposite side was ready to retaliate. "I find this interesting too." Kai hadn't expected that and broke out in a cold sweat. Damn it. He hurriedly turned around to remedy the situation. Damn it. Someone faster than him had already made a move at that moment. An arm immediately flew off its owner along with a stream of bright red blood. His eyes widened to watch it go. Kai quickly clutched his wound and screamed throughout the hallway. Kim Jin threw the bullet that had just been fired from the gun's barrel and was ready to fire more. Another shot aimed straight at Kai's center. He was completely defeated by that finishing blow this time. The guys who just rushed in were shocked. "What the hell? He has a gun too?" a subordinate muttered. "A shotgun, sir." Suddenly, 2 things were thrown out of the room. A can hit the concrete wall and fell to the ground. It rolled wildly towards the bodyguards. He watched without suspicion. "What's this?" A moment later, the narrow hallway was engulfed in a huge explosion. The light and sound from the 3rd floor echoed outside the apartment. The car wheels quickly came to a stop. Backup arrived and they stopped on the highway to observe. Someone wondered, "Is it in the Haksu building?" The other guy nodded. "I think so too." They lamented. "Oh my God, something must have happened there. Damn it, let's go there quickly. Get in the car." But before they could continue, they spotted Kim Jin's car. "Sir, there's a car parked over there," their boss asked. "So?" The guy voiced his suspicion. "Don't you think it's strange? It's not like we're in the countryside, and it's not parked illegally." He raised an eyebrow, confused. "You think it's the police?" Eventually, he was convinced. "I think you're right. It doesn't seem suspicious. Go check it out." His subordinate obeyed. "Yes, sir." The car's headlights made it easier for them to approach the vehicle. A few men were sent to cautiously peek inside the car. Yongmin, with his mouth gagged, was the first thing they spotted. The situation in the building was more stable now that the fire was out. The man with the light exclaimed, "God, it's like a battlefield." The person on the other end of the line asked, "Hey, What's the situation on the third floor? The man replied. It's a bloodbath down here. The person's voice hesitated. I think everyone's dead. Haksu's subordinate then asked, What do you want to do next? He calmly said, Check if that bastard's still alive. If he's still breathing, slit his throat. Got it? The man next to him immediately understood. Yes, sir. Pass down the order immediately. Check if that agent is still alive. If he is, just shoot him dead. He nodded. Yes, sir. And Kim Jin took the initiative to appear, taking advantage of his inattention. A bullet went straight into his head. The spotter gasped. Wante! Damn it! You didn't let him say another word and finished him off right there. Haksu's subordinate couldn't hear any response, so he was very worried. He tried to talk to the other end of the line, but it didn't work. Wante, answer me, damn it. Kim Jin's voice suddenly rang out. You invite guests here and then unleash dogs? That's not very polite. He growled at the other guy. I've taken care of all your dogs, so you're next. Just wait, I'm coming. This declaration really scared Haksu. He took down more than 20 guys by himself. He tried to convince himself. That's impossible. Even so, he reached for the gun on the table. Sir, what are you planning to do? Haksu asked while cleaning it. How many guys are left on the fourth floor? The subordinate next to him answered seriously. If you include me. There are 8 people left. 2 are guarding the exit by the stairs. His hands slowly loaded the gun. When will the Guro guys get here? The other person hesitated and said, They just called me. They'll be here in about 30 minutes. He immediately shouted loudly, Are you kidding me? Haksu decisively ordered. What time is it? You useless bastards, call them and tell them to get here now. His closest subordinate immediately pulled out his phone. Yes, sir. He also reprimanded the other 2 guards. What are you 2 still doing here? Guard the hallway. They quickly bowed. Yes, sir. The one who was kept behind was assigned a task by him. And you 2, watch this woman. She's still valuable. If you take your eyes off her, I'll deal with you. Understand? They straightened up and shouted, Yes, sir. Meanwhile, Kim Jin is climbing the wall to the 4th floor. Each of his fingers grips tightly onto the window frame. Everything is still going as smoothly as planned because he has arrived. His shoe touches the floor with extreme caution. The guards standing at every corner are constantly looking around. They are constantly watching the path ahead. Kim Jin hid and peeked out to observe. He tensely waited for their mistake. His gun, tucked at his hip, was drawn with incredible ease. The slide was racked in an instant. By the time they realized the danger, he was already right next to them. The bodyguard exclaimed in panic, What? The gun in his hand fired a shot into the man's forehead. His accomplice didn't even have time to react before the next shot. The bullet's force sent him staggering backward. The other guy, standing nearby, quickly looked back. They faced each other, both pointing their guns. Kim Jin was quick, gunpowder flying from their heads. Each one was shot precisely in the forehead and groaned. Haksu and his close subordinates saw the bodyguards tumbling. He panicked and yelled, Get the Guro guys here now. The reinforcements you're waiting for are surrounding Kim Jin's car. The prosecutor's son was kidnapped, right? Seeing him gagged like that. I think it's him. Sir? Maybe the agent put him here as a precaution, then sneaked into the building alone to save his mother. What do you think of my deduction? Pretty good, huh? Someone tried knocking. Why won't he open the door? He just keeps staring at us. Hey, kid, open up. We're not going to hurt you. Since there's no response. He gave up. You know about Stockholm Syndrome, right? Where the hostage bonds with their captor? Maybe that's why he won't open the door for us. He's probably been brainwashed. The guy next to him got a call. Yes, we're on our way. We'll be there soon. He turned and urged them. Sir, they said we need to get there as fast as possible. Let's get in the car. The boss nodded. All right. Then he went back to the car. Hey, break the window and get the kid out. He's our trump card, after all. His subordinate obeyed. Yes, sir. A crowbar was taken out and tapped on the window a few times. Hey, stand back. The glass will shatter. The man on this side started moving towards the other side. Hey, Kim Jin. Haksu threatened him. I'm warning you. Your mother is in our hands. He and the others surrounded Sunja. If you lay a finger on us, you'll regret it. Kim Jin, just ignore them and come closer. Got it? The guy decisively fired 2 accurate shots at them. The bodyguard right behind Haksu was hit and screamed. His close subordinate was also taken down next. Stop. Haksu quickly pulled Sunja in. Before I kill this hag. Under that threat, he had to lower his weapon. Okay, I'll drop the gun. Calm down. She weakly called out her son's name, Jin. He reassured her. Mom, I'll be right there. Don't worry, everything will be all right. He kept making demands. Yeah, I agreed to trade your mother for Young Min. Bring him here now. Kim Jin raised an eyebrow, ignoring him. Yongmin? The other man firmly replied. Yes, Prosecutor Joe's son. Where is he? At that moment, the bodyguard smashed open his car door. The man leaned in and gestured to him. Hey, get out! But Yongmin didn't comply, only cried out helplessly. He started to lose patience. Get out now, you idiot! The man's hand forcefully pulled him out. Get out now! The grenade immediately fell out, horrifying Yongmin. He was helplessly dragged from the car against his will. The other man looked pleased after his body fell to the ground. Good. Yongmin lay on the ground, trying to say something, but he was stopped. The grenade was activated and immediately exploded, spreading to the car. The leader and his men stared over in shock. The fire rose into a prominent plume of smoke, visible even from the 4th floor of the building. Haksu swallowed hard. Kim Jin turned and said, I think that's your answer. He turned around in surprise, not yet understanding what I meant. But then his face darkened. What? He's in the car? He casually admitted. That's right. I warned him that if he moved, the grenade would explode. Looks like he did. Kids these days. So impatient, don't you think? The other man forced a smile. You son of a bitch. You planned this from the start, didn't you? You never intended to trade. He immediately exposed him. Neither did you. Kim Jin's eyes grew cold. Let's change things up. Release my mother, and I'll let you live. This is the only chance I'm giving you. The gun in the other man's hand pressed even harder against her head. Haksu confidently replied, Oh, really? How grateful I am. I don't know what I'd do. Should I get on my knees and thank you? He takes the initiative to get closer to Sunja. And here's my answer. Then he violently pulls her away, saying, You and your mother will both die. Kim Jin, surprised by this action, quickly reaches out. His mother throws herself into the young man's arms, inadvertently pushing him down. Their bodies fall backward together, with nothing to support them. Hasku continues to fire 2 shots, ejecting the shell casings. They hit Sunja in the back, and he also draws his gun to retaliate. Kim Jin narrows his eyes to aim carefully. He decisively shot the person standing above. That person, of course, couldn't dodge and took the full hit. After dealing with the last one, his mother and he continued to fall. Below them were the roofs of several sturdy cars. In that critical moment, she made a decision, not her son. Thinking that, Sunja turned herself to be the point of impact. The impact crushed the car, accompanied by a loud shattering sound. White smoke billowed out from it, while he rolled down the hood to the ground. Kim Jin's body was still covered in white smoke from the impact. He struggled to open his eyes, unable to stop himself from groaning in pain. His body trembled as he sat up after a moment. When he came to his senses, he realized the other person was lying on the roof of the car. Her condition was even worse, causing him to panic and cry out, Mom! Blood streamed down his forehead, but he ignored it. Oh my God. Kim Jin staggered towards her in fear. No! He hurriedly pulled off his face mask. Sunja then coughs up blood from her internal injuries. The guy rushes to her side and quickly puts his hand under her. Mom! The hand holding the knife quickly supports her body. Kim Jin tries to reassure her. Stay with me. I'll call an ambulance right away. But she refuses. No. Sunja breathes heavily. They're related to Suhee's case, aren't they? Though he doesn't want to. He has to admit it to her. Yes. Hearing that, his mother gets even angrier. Those bastards. In her final moments, she uses all her strength to instruct him. Kill them all. Get revenge. Then the silence overwhelmed me. Mom! Mom! Sweat poured from my brow, fueled by fear. Every part of me began to tremble uncontrollably. Kim Jin bitterly closed his eyes, but the tears kept flowing. No. His desperate voice echoed through the parking lot. Mom! Sunlight streamed outside the building. The camera captured a blood-soaked slashed corpse on the floor. Beside it lay the weapon and blood spatter all around. Photos are continuously being taken of the bodies lying scattered nearby. The camera continues to pan over other bodies, capturing every single detail. The investigation team is surrounding and photographing the scene of a body that fell onto a car. The body has been identified as Sunja. Lee Hyun looks down from the building. He turns around when he hears someone call. Sir? The person at the door holds up a white file and reports. We've traced the license plate. Lee Hyun replies. Can I go over there? Sure. We're done investigating. But be careful. Stepping on a corpse brings bad luck all year. The other man carefully stepped over the corpse blocking the doorway, which Lee Hyun found a bit amusing. He handed over the file. Here it is. Lee Hyun took it and looked inside while the other man said, As you can see, all the cars parked next to the building are leased by DD Construction. Looking at the memo in his hand, he said, This building was also seized from DD Construction because the owner couldn't pay the debt. He continued, It seems all the victims were employees of the company. I suspect they're a criminal gang. Lee Hyun agreed with him. Yes, it's organized crime. In a news report about DD Construction's press conference, Jawoon Yong, the godfather of the demolition industry, founded the company in the mid-80s. Now, it practically monopolizes the demolition industry. Chairman Jawoon Yong used to be a leader of one of the most notorious gangs, the DD organization. He went on to say that despite his gangster origins, he was extremely good at business, expanding from demolition to construction, entertainment, healthcare, IT, and currently owns companies in over 10 different fields. Lee Hyun said he'd been accused of tax evasion, embezzlement, stock price manipulation, and a host of other crimes, but always found loopholes to escape, apparently having high-ranking officials backing him. In short, he's a real piece of shit. Looking at the corpse on the floor, and this guy is his right-hand man, Hak-soo Im, specializing in cleaning up for the DD Group. It seems familiar, but now that you mention DD Group, I remember, he asked. Why do you think they were all killed here? Was it a rival gang trying to seize power? Lee Hyun dismissed it. No way. He held the file in his hand. This isn't just a regular massacre. Didn't you see the corpse on the way up here? Max replied. I did. Looking at Hak-soo's body, Lee Hyun speculated. About 30 people were found in the building, all shot or had their throats slit. There were also traces of explosives. It seems like an elite counter-terrorism squad stormed in and took care of everything. Or it could be the work of a seasoned assassin. He pulled out a cigarette pack. Anyway, we'll have to investigate further to clarify. But with this many people, it's definitely the work of a professional. We have to be careful too. I have a feeling this case won't be easy to crack. Max scratched his head. Whew, I really don't know where to start the investigation. Lee Hyun, put out your cigarette and go check on that old woman first. Soon-ja's body is in the car, surrounded by blood. Huh? That old woman, he said. Right? Isn't it strange to have an old woman's body at the scene of a criminal massacre? Lee Hyun insists. I don't want to say this, but that old woman is the key to solving this case. Trust me. I'm sure there's something about her. Seo Young calls up from below. Detective Park, have them look down here. He shouts. About 400 meters in that direction, we found a burnt-out car. It's likely related to this case. There are traces of explosives. You should come take a look. Hearing that, he complains. Damn it, looks like I won't be going home early tonight. At DD Hospital, voices can be heard in the morgue. A car explosion? Yes, I think the car was a trap. Jiwoon Yong. My men in black suits report that 2 of ours are dead on the spot, with Jae-young behind them confirming the bodies. Seeing Yongmin lying on the table, he trembled as he listened to the report. He was still alive when we put him in the car, but on the way here, we're sorry. Chairman. He places his hand on Youngmin's face. Jae-young calls out, trembling. Youngmin, I'm sorry. He cries, his face showing bitterness and resentment. I will definitely catch the bastard who killed you and avenge you, I promise. At the Gem Psychology Center facility, remembering the words his mother strained to say at the end of her life, kill them all. Take revenge. Kim Jin wakes up with a start. He was covered in wounds, panting heavily in the hospital bed. Kim Jin looked around. He sat up and touched the bandages on his throbbing side. Kim Jin heard a voice and turned his head. You're awake? Soo-jong stood with her arms crossed at the door and asked, What on earth happened? Soo-jong remembered the moment and said worriedly, You came barging in here in the middle of the night, covered in blood. Do you know how scared I was? Kim Jin said, I'm sorry. I had no other choice. Seeing this, Soo-jong said, If you're sorry, then lie down. Your ribs are broken, and you're covered in bruises. He looked at his injuries and wondered, How long until I fully recover? Soo-jong replied, There's no treatment for broken ribs. They just have to heal on their own over time. Kim Jin stubbornly got out of bed. I wish I could, but I don't have that kind of time. I have to leave right away. Sorry, but could you get me some bandages, painkillers, and today's newspaper? She asked back. You need a newspaper too? Something else happened, didn't it? Soo-jong continued. Are you still working in Nagok? He replied. I am. She smiled slightly and said, You've been working there longer than I thought. Honestly, I was hoping you'd just work there and retire. Kim Jin smiled slightly at her joke. I heard people say that anyone who survives and retires there is a true hero. Soo-jong looked at him thoughtfully. Then she said, Do you really have to go right now? Kim Jin replied. Yeah. Soo-jong, hearing that, put her hand in her coat pocket and said, Then lie down. Let me go get the newspaper and some painkillers for you. I'll be right back. Kim Jin suddenly called out to her, Soo-jong! He sat wearily on the edge of the hospital bed and said sincerely, Thank you, always. Sujong replied. If you stopped getting hurt, you wouldn't need to thank me anymore. Kim Jin slowly lay back down on the bed. Lying down on the hospital bed, he was dazed. He kept thinking about his mother's last words. Kill them all. Take revenge. He frowned and whispered, Mother, back at Didi Hospital. Jiwoon Yang is holding a meeting, Nana asks. Haksu is dead too? He clasps his hands and says nothing. Jaeyoung and Ing Yuseo are sitting next to him. Nam Songki, sitting next to Nana, says, He killed 30 people by himself? How is that even possible? Is he a superhero or something? Oh my God. Jiwoon Yang says, It's hard to believe, but it's the truth. He pauses. Only one employee who was in the building survived. Jiwoon Yang recounts. And according to that person, as soon as the power went out, that bastard appeared from the shadows like a ghost, carrying guns and equipment like a special forces soldier. He said he was fully prepared. He groggily sat up after being knocked out, but was knocked unconscious again. And when he woke up, he shined his light and found a pile of bodies lying in blood splattered on the ground. Except for him, everyone else in the building had been slaughtered, one by one, stabbed, shot, or blown to pieces by explosives. Nam Songki speculated that he found Haksu's body on the 4th floor, probably shot dead with a shotgun. Jiwoon Yang coldly cursed. Useless bastard. He took 30 men, and they were all taken down by just one guy. Nana asked worriedly if he saw Kim Jin's body. He replied, No. The atmosphere suddenly fell silent. She pondered something. Then she said to Jiwoon Yang, Couldn't we apologize for what happened to his daughter and compensate him? Maybe give him a few $100,000 or something. He looked at her. Minister Lee. Jiwoon Yang frowned angrily. Are you kidding me? 30 of my men are dead. He pointed to Jaeyoung sitting next to him. Prosecutor Joe's son also died tragically. Now there's no turning back. Either I kill him, or he kills me. Jiwoon Yang called. Prosecutor Joe, he answered. Yes, Chairman, he said seriously. This case, if anything goes wrong, we could get caught up in it too. Do you think you can cover this up? Jaeyoung thought for a moment. Then he said, I'm not sure I can do it. Too many people have died. Jiwoon Yang closed his eyes and asked, So what can we do? Jaeyoung suggested, How about asking Director Sehun Kim at the intelligence agency? He continued, Since the perpetrator is Secret Agent Kim Jin, we'll have them take over the case. These kinds of cases are under their jurisdiction, so it's not impossible. The person listened attentively to Jaeyoung. Once they take over the case, even if the police suspect Didi Construction is involved, they won't easily interfere. And I can take care of the prosecution. Jiwoon Yang chuckled approvingly. Okay, that's a great plan, they discussed. Then, I'll talk to the intelligence agency to bury this. I'll personally meet Director Kim Se-hoon, Nam Songki asked. What about hiring security? Jiwoon Yang replied. I want Prosecutor Joe to handle that, he answered. Yes, sir. He suddenly added some news. Oh, right, I have good news for everyone. Jiwoon Yang gestured towards Ing-yu Seo. Assemblyman Seo Ing-yu has received some backing and will run for the National Assembly. He smiled slightly, not saying anything, letting Jiwoon Yang continue. He's a leading candidate, so he's almost certain to win. They all stood up and applauded. He even got up to shake hands with Ing-yu Seo. Congratulations, Assemblyman Seo. I guess you'll need money to run. Ing-yu Seo took Jiwoon Yang's hand. That's what I'm most worried about. I hope everyone will help. Haha. Meanwhile, at the police station. At the Gyeonggi Police Investigation Unit, several people walked around. The sound echoed from inside the Major Crimes Unit room. We've determined the time of death to be around 9 o'clock last night. The investigators and detectives are holding a meeting. Han Chun, holding a stack of reports, says that, according to the forensics team, they can accurately determine the time of death because the bodies were discovered quite early. Most of these people were killed by knives, guns, or explosives. He flips to the report below, stating, Unlike the old woman found earlier, we determined she died from a fall. She also had gunshot wounds. Han Chun looks at the image of the old woman's body riddled with bullets and says, And we determined that Im Hak-soo shot her at the scene. We believe he shot her right after pushing her from the 4th floor to ensure she would die. He continues, surprising everyone at the table. The autopsy report also shows a large amount of semen in her genitals. We'll know more after the DNA test results. But for now, we can confirm that the dead members of the DD group raped her. Lee Hyun bites his lip. Filled with resentment, he examines the documents in his hand and curses. Raping an old woman? What scum. Lee Hyun turns to Park Min asking, Hey, Investigator Jang, have you identified her yet? Park Min opens his small notebook, searching. Wait a minute, I wrote it down somewhere here. He looks at his notebook. Ah, found it. Her name is Lee Sunja, 77 years old. Park Min looked at the report. We found CCTV footage of DD Group kidnapping her at her apartment around 10 a.m. yesterday. He held out the report, saying, "This is a still from that footage." Lee Hyun rested his chin in his hand, deep in thought. He crossed his arms and asked, "So, what's the motive for kidnapping her? I think that's the key to solving this case." Lee Hyun looked over. "Did you check her criminal record?" Park Min replied. "We did, but she has no criminal record at all, not even a traffic ticket. She's just an ordinary person." Choi, sitting opposite, spoke up. "What should we do now?" Suddenly, Park Min remembered something. He spoke, and Lee Hyun glanced over. Park Min recounted, "We tried contacting the family to inform them, and we discovered something quite interesting, though I'm not sure if it's the key to solving this case." Han Chun wondered what it was. Park Min, holding up 2 fingers, replied, "During our investigation, we discovered she has 2 relatives, a son and a granddaughter." He recounted the recent events. However, the granddaughter, who was in high school, took her own life 5 days ago. We inquired and learned that she was raped by a group of boys. Lee Hyun turned his head, questioning. "If it was rape, there should be a record. Whose jurisdiction is this under?" Park Min explained. "The police station. But the case hasn't progressed. Since the victim is dead, they consider the case closed." Lee Hyun frowned suspiciously. "What about the son?" Park Min pulled a file from a paper bag. "That's what I find interesting." He looked at the report. "His name is Kim Jin. He was the head of a trading company, but after his daughter died, he disappeared without a trace." Park Min handed Lee Hyun those 2 papers. "Strangely, after his daughter died, an arrest warrant was issued for him. I think that's why he disappeared." Lee Hyun was surprised. He took the 2 suspicious papers. "What's the charge? What's the arrest warrant based on?" Park Min replied. "Kidnapping and extortion." Lee Hyun frowned, assessing the background, muttering, "That's strange." Seo Young leaned over to look. "The 2 papers are a family registry and an ID card. Jin Kim." Lee Hyun suddenly realized something. He looked closely at Kim Jin's face in the picture. Lee Hyun frowned, thinking. Seo Young pointed to the file and asked, "Investigator Choi, is this the person who rented that car?" Choi looked over and replied, "It looks a bit like him." Lee Hyun was confused. "What's going on?" Seo Young explained, pointing. "The rental car found at the burned building. We got a copy of the ID the renter used, and these 2 look very similar. Choi, pull up the records." Then he showed it to Lee Hyun. "Look at this." Comparing the 2 ID copies, Detective Choi said, "I think Hyunbin Park is a fake name. He's wearing glasses, but I think they're the same person." Lee Hyun listened intently, his face grave. He could be the one who killed all those people. His hand touched the 2 copies. He said, "This is getting complicated. We need to be more vigilant," Lee Hyun ordered. "I want Lee's and Choi's teams to investigate who issued the arrest warrant for him. Also, I want you to find out everything you can about him. If he really is the perpetrator of the massacre, he's likely a highly trained assassin or a spy. The trading company job is just a front. Investigate thoroughly. Understood?" Seo Young replied. "Yes, sir," Lee Hyun requested. "And I want Kim and Jang to investigate the sexual assault of Jin Kim's daughter. Find the perpetrators and their families," Park Min replied. "Yes, sir." Lee Hyun is urging us on. "Everyone, let's get to work." The afternoon sun is a brilliant orange-yellow, with tall apartment buildings lined up next to each other. A car is driving up. Swejong, driving and looking around, says, "Is it okay if I drop you off here?" Kim Jin leans forward and replies, "Yes." She looks at him and calls out, "Hey, Jin." Swejong, with a worried expression and heartfelt voice, says, "If you keep going like this, it's only going to get worse. So promise me you'll be careful." Kim Jin opens the car door, the corners of his mouth turning up. "All right, thanks for helping me out." She sighs. "I hope you keep that promise." He closes the car door. Kim Jin looks into the car window. "Stay safe. I'll be in touch soon." So Jong waves goodbye to him. Kim Jin, pulling his luggage, looks around and she watches his back from inside. Kim Jin lifts his luggage onto the steps. Then he pulls it inside the apartment building. Swejong, looking worried, bites her lip. "Idiot." Luxury high-rise buildings under the dim streetlights. Jae-young shook his hand and introduced himself. "I'm Prosecutor Jo Jae-young," Chan Seop politely replied. "It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Yang Chan Seop, Director of Korea Security." He asked softly, "Shall we order coffee first?" He gestured. "Please, have a seat." A moment later, a cup of coffee was placed next to a business card. The waitress respectfully said, "Please enjoy your drinks." Chanseop watched the waitress walk away. He turned back to the conversation with him. "You said on the phone that there's a dangerous person targeting you. Could you elaborate?" Jae-young pushed up his glasses and replied, "Well, as a prosecutor, it's inevitable to be resented by people. I think this is one of those times. But this guy is a violent criminal with excellent gun skills. So I called you. I need a bodyguard who can protect me 24/7. He repeated his words. "A violent criminal? Very skilled with guns?" Chanseop's cold eyes glinted behind his glasses. "Yes, the details are still under investigation, so I can't reveal much. But he's a professional killer, extremely proficient with guns and explosives." After hearing the story, he closed his eyes and judged. "It's an assassin." He noticed his hesitation. It must be difficult to assign bodyguards when the person is targeted by an assassin. Chanseop smiled. "That's indeed difficult, but our people are elite bodyguards. They've even protected presidents. As you know, the mission of the Presidential Security Detail is to prevent assassinations, even terrorism. So they have to go through special training that no other agency has." He explained his work. Chanseop took a sip of his tea. "Frankly, unless the opponent is a special forces operative or brings an armored vehicle, an assassin is nothing to us. However, finding someone who has protected the president and preparing the appropriate equipment will be very expensive." His figure was reflected in Jae-young's glasses. He was sure. Money is not the problem. What I care about is whether you can really stop him. He put his coffee cup on the table and called, "Prosecutor Joe, there's one thing I can say for sure. No agency does this better than us. If we can't stop him, then even the Presidential Security Detail would give up. I can guarantee that," Chanseop said in a tone that affirmed his strength. After hearing that, his eyes were full of emotion. Outside the shop, bustling buildings. Sounds echoed inside the door. Echoing sounds, decorations come into view. The suitcase inside the house. Kim Jin wearily clung to the doorframe. Under his feet were a pair of untidy shoes. He sat down and straightened them. Kim Jin neatly arranges the shoes. His face is scratched and sorrowful as he recalls old memories. Suhi runs out happily, arms outstretched. "Daddy!" Soon Ja follows behind, holding a rag, thoughtfully watching the father and daughter embrace. "Where were you? Your mother and I waited so long. Go wash up. I'll set the table for dinner in the meantime. I made you pan-fried chives. Your favorite," she says, subtly showing her concern. Kim Jin stares down the long hallway. He glances inside the doorway, where there are no longer any loved ones, only cold loneliness. Kim Jin's eyes show a hint of loss. His hand turns on the flashlight. The light shines on their family portrait. Kim Jin stares intently. Time passes, and he continues to observe. He reaches out and takes the picture down. Kim Jin meticulously wipes it clean, staring at the familiar faces. He places the two photos down by the altar. Kim Jin lights an incense stick. Then, he quietly placed it in the incense burner. Kim Jin stood there, filled with grief, contemplating many things. After a moment, he knelt down and kowtowed sincerely. His hands trembled as he clasped them together. Kim Jin sat up. Then he kowtowed again in apology. Finally, he stood up and silently watched, looking at the familiar scene of the past. Kim Jin's voice choked. "I'm sorry I couldn't hold a proper funeral for you. Mom, I know it's too late. Rest in peace. Mom, as you asked before you left, I'll take care of them one by one." His voice was sad, but full of determination. Finally, Kim Jin bowed his head. "Goodbye, Mom. I love you. I'll never forget you." Daylight shines on lush trees beside tall buildings. Footsteps in the early dawn. Jae-young enters with his newly hired bodyguards. He walks ahead, surrounded by his protectors. Kim Jin silently sits in his car, observing all of his actions. He pulls out a notebook and pen, meticulously writing down everything he sees. The White House is hidden behind long, thick foliage. Kim Jin silently writes his thoughts on paper under the dim light. The content is his last will, where he writes his final words. His face is bruised, his slender hands forming each letter. "I'm not sure everything will end the way I want it to." Kim Jin recalls Ingyu Seo's campaign rally. He said, "My name is Ingyu Seo, a resident of Songpa district. I will do my best to develop this district." His pen presses harder on the paper. "Frankly, this is very scary and it's not easy." During the cheers and applause, Seo Ingyu runs for parliament. Let's get rich together. The more he thinks about it, the more he writes. In the worst case, those who fear the truth will frame me and turn me into a serial killer. People who don't know why I had to do those things will see me as a monster. Kim Jin thinks of the congressman's supporters, and his heart aches. His eyes steadfastly gaze at the world. The cross of truth and kindness shines in the sky. He explains with words. But because my daughter and all the other women have been senselessly attacked, and as long as there are those who cover up for criminals who should be punished, I will never be silent. He vows revenge. Kim Jin watches him pretending to be righteous. Pastor, how about we go golfing sometime? How about the day after tomorrow? Even though Kim Jin is wearing glasses, he can't hide the hatred in his eyes. A peaceful city. Tall buildings lined up one after another. Remembering the people chatting happily, he becomes even more determined in his letter. Until my last breath, I will fight against those criminals. Kim Jin uses binoculars to track their movements. He slowly lowers them, deep in thought. Kim Jin takes out his notebook and writes carefully, just in case. Since society won't stand up to remove this scum from the country, Kim Jin is moving on. He's moving out of the green zone, and he'll personally wipe them off the face of the earth. It's 37 minutes into the Serious Crimes Unit 2 meeting. Portraits are posted on the board. Park Young-sik, Seo Sungjae, Nam Seo-kun, Young Tae-ho, Jo Young-min. These 5 students together assaulted Soo-hee Kim, Kim Jin's daughter. All 5 are students at 000 High School, currently being questioned but not detained. Strangely, the investigation is being seriously delayed. It's been almost 2 weeks. The police have taken statements from all of them, but haven't yet forwarded the case to the prosecutor's office, according to the police report. Lee Hyun speaks up. Oh my God, who's the idiot in charge of this case? Park Min flips through the documents. Investigator Heo Samsu from 000 police station. Choi adds, ugh, that piece of trash. I'm surprised he's still there. Park Min is surprised. Does he know him? He crossed his arms and added, he really is a jerk. I could list his faults all day long. But let's continue the meeting. Anything else? Han-sun put down the documents. Of course, there are many more interesting things. Recently, we investigated the movements of all the students. And student Jo Young-min. He pointed to the photo on the board. He continued. A few days ago, Jo Young-min was on his way home after evening classes when he was hit by a car. We suspect this was just a pretext to kidnap him. Lee Hyun noticed something unusual. A car accident to disguise a kidnapping? Han Chun explained. That's right. At the time, he was with a friend named Shin Kyung-sik, and this friend recounted what happened. The car that hit him had been parked there for a while, as if waiting to hit Jo Young-min. The driver got out of the car, told Young-min that he would take him to the hospital, and then disappeared. Strangely, the license plate was checked and it turned out to be a rental car. He narrated everything clearly. Lee Hyun was suspicious after hearing the story. The rental car, was it the car that was burned? Han Chun wasn't sure, so he couldn't give a clear answer. We can't conclude that the car found near the crime scene is the same one used in the kidnapping, and Kyung-sik doesn't remember what kind of car it was either. All he remembers is that the driver was in his 40s and wore horn-rimmed glasses. There's no evidence to suggest Kim Jin is involved in the kidnapping. However, yesterday we discovered that Jo Young-min was reported dead. He presented what he had written. That last statement struck a chord with Lee Hyun. He asked, not reported missing, but reported dead? Han Chun agreed, handing him a piece of paper. Yes, his mother, Pank Sunim, filed the report. This is a copy of his death certificate. He clarified his concern. As you can see on the paper, Young-min's entire body suffered 2nd and 3rd degree burns. Please look at the end of the death certificate. The hospital that confirmed the death was DD Hospital, just like DD Construction. This hospital is also run by the DD Group. Han Chun pointed out the peculiarity on the death certificate. Lee Hyun frowned, reading each word and then analyzing. What does the DD Group have to do with the extortion case? He replied, one of the perpetrators, Young Tae-ho, is the grandson of the DD Group's chairman, Young Jae-woon. He turned and stuck his picture on the investigation board. Right after that, Han Chun opened the investigation file and said, besides him, the parents of the others are also powerful people. We checked everyone's registration and found they're all big shots in society. First, Pank Jung-sik, son of Lee Young-yong, the Minister of Education, he said, sticking her picture up. Choi asked, is she the current minister? He replied, yes. Han Chun continued to present what he'd investigated and stuck up pictures. Next is Seo Seung-jae, son of Seoul City Council member Seo In-yu, who is currently running for National Assembly. Then Nam Seo-kun, son of Nam Song-ki, Nam Songki is the president of K University and also the pastor of the famous 000 Church. Yong Taiho, as I said, is the grandson of the chairman of DD Group, Yong Ji-woon. And finally, Jo Yong-min, the deceased, is the son of prosecutor Jo Ja-young. He's the chief prosecutor in charge of the major crimes investigation team in Seoul, he said, holding up his picture. Lee Hyun frowned and exclaimed after listening, "Oh my God, so it's a group of privileged kids doing bad things. What is this world coming to?" Seo Young agreed, adding, "Like father, like son. You'd be shocked if you knew what one of them did." Lee Hyun turned to look, asking, "What are you talking about?" He countered, "Do you know who signed Kim Jin's arrest warrant?" It was prosecutor Jo Jae-young. Lee Hyun was stunned and fell into thought. Lee Hyun asked incredulously, "Are you sure it's not just a coincidence in names?" Seo Young then presented a file. "This is a copy of the arrest warrant that prosecutor Jae-young signed." He picked up Kim Jin's information sheet and pondered for a moment. Lee Hyun stood up and exclaimed, "Let's review everything." Then he walked over to the board and uncapped his marker. He then began to analyze on the board. So, 5 privileged kids organized and assaulted Soon Jan-hee, Kim Jin's daughter. But Detective Jang said the case was at a standstill. Lee Hyun wondered, "What's the reason for that?" Seo Young voiced her opinion. "Do you think the parents of those kids, including Prosecutor Jo, are abusing their power to cover up their children's crimes?" Choi, sitting next to her, nodded in agreement. "That makes sense. Maybe we should look into what connection Prosecutor Jo and Detective Hyo Samsoo have." Lee Hyun smirked. Hyo Samsoo is exactly the kind of person who would do something like that. Then he slowly wrote something on the board. It read, "Detective in charge of the case, Hyo Samsoo, bribery." Lee Hyun stood with his arms crossed, intently thinking about solving the case. Then he turned and asked, "Detective Lee, get a warrant to search Hyo Samsoo's bank accounts." He quickly replied, "Okay." Lee Hyun continued to analyze the case. Getting back to the main point, the case gradually faded away, and unfortunately, soon Jan-hee chose to end her life. He analyzed each detail. So, the girl's father, angered by what happened, decided to take revenge himself. Lee Hyun pondered, asking what he would do if he were him. Not seeing Park Min respond, he turned around and said loudly, "Hey, Detective Jang, what would you do if you were Kim Jin?" He rubbed his chin and replied, "I'm not sure. Maybe I'd leak the story to the press so those kids who caused the trouble would be brought to justice." Lee Hyun asked further, "If Prosecutor Jo blocked it, what would you do next?" He explained, "As you know, in our country, prosecutors hold almost all the power to decide who gets prosecuted or not. So no matter how the press reports it, if the prosecutor's office doesn't approve, no one will be prosecuted. You understand that, right?" Park Min, after hearing this, was a bit puzzled. "Then I can't do anything anymore," he wondered. "The law is on their side?" Lee Hyun turned to look at the picture on the board and replied, "That's right." He recounted his thoughts. Someone wants justice, but justice is on the side of their enemy. Cut to a different location at a tall skyscraper. Outside, a sleek black car silently entered the underground parking garage. It rolled slowly, its headlights scanning the concrete pillars, searching for an empty space. After a few turns, the car finally found a suitable spot and slowly reversed between the white lines. As the engine died down, 3 bodyguards in black suits immediately stepped out, scanning their surroundings before opening the car door. Surrounded by the 3 bodyguards, Jae-young suddenly stopped when he heard a car. From a distance, another car suddenly sped towards them at a terrifying speed. The engine roared through the garage, tires screeching against the concrete floor, sending up bright sparks. The car, like a black arrow, tore through the air straight towards Jae-young and the 3 bodyguards. Seeing this, the 3 bodyguards panicked and shouted, "Watch out!" One bodyguard didn't have time to dodge and was hit by the car, his body flying up and then being thrown far away like a sandbag. It was only then that the black car began to stop. A man opened the door and stepped out. Seeing this, a bodyguard yelled, "Are you crazy? What do you think you're doing?" The other helped Jo-young up. "Are you all right, sir?" And that person was none other than Kim Jin, who stepped forward with a face full of hatred. As he approached, Kim Jin said nothing and raised his elbow. Then, without hesitation, he kicked a bodyguard in the face, taking a direct hit from the agent's kick. The guy was instantly stunned. His eyes rolled back and he collapsed unconscious on the spot. Seeing this, Jae-young was terrified and stammered, unable to speak. Kim Jin turned and gave a deadly smile. "Long time no see, prosecutor." He panicked and shouted, "It's him! He's stopping him! Run, I'll handle him!" Hearing this, the bodyguard angrily charged. "You bastard!" He pulled out a taser and pointed it at him. "Don't come any closer." The bodyguard shouted in fear, "If you come any closer, I'll shoot!" Kim Jin, however, ignored the warning and charged forward. He stared in shocked disbelief at what he saw. Extremely flustered, the bodyguard immediately pulled the trigger. 2 bullets flew towards Kim Jin at lightning speed, but he didn't flinch. Kim Jin ducked to avoid the incoming arrows. He dropped to the ground while the other guy tumbled over. Kim Jin gritted his teeth. Suddenly, a stick came swinging unexpectedly. He leaned back, dodging his blow. Kim Jin kept dodging the bodyguard's attacks. He swung his club, cursing, "You slippery bastard!" He reacted quickly. Kim Jin grabbed the bodyguard's weapon hand. He held the arm up and forward. Kim Jin twisted his arm. He threw the bodyguard backwards. He fell to the ground with a thud. Kim Jin seizes the opportunity to subdue the bodyguard. Jae-young hears the noise and turns around. He sees him lurking behind a car in the distance. Jae-young is horrified. He runs as Kim Jin gets closer and closer. He pulls out his gun, aims, and prepares to pull the trigger. The remaining bodyguard, who must have woken up, suddenly chokes Kim Jin, the bastard. The shot misses and hits the wall right next to Jae-young. Ugh. He's got him pinned. "Drop the gun, you bastard." They're fighting over the gun in Kim Jin's hand. He loosens his legs and jumps back. The bodyguard doesn't have time to react and falls, becoming a meat shield. Kim Jin's head slams into his face, sending blood flying everywhere. He staggers to his feet while the bodyguard rolls around in pain, clutching his face. "Ah, my nose." After dealing with the henchman, Kim Jin points his gun and searches for Jae-young to witness the next breathtaking action scenes. Please support Miss Manhwa by liking and subscribing. He shot the fleeing man in the thigh. The other bodyguard frantically lunged to grab the gun. But no, Kim Jin quickly pulled the gun back. Annoyed by his persistence, he threw a punch. The bodyguard took the full force of the punch to the face. He collapsed to the ground. Jae-young's remaining bodyguard had also fallen. Kim Jin stood still to catch his breath. I looked over at Jae-young crawling on the ground. Jae-young frantically tried to call for help. A bullet pierced his arm. Jae-young writhed in pain, clutching his bleeding wound. Kim Jin put down his gun and turned to look. Jae-young still didn't give up, trembling as he crawled towards him. Kim Jin coldly raised his gun to the bodyguard's head and warned, "Stay right there," he said. "I know it's much easier to kill someone than to subdue them, right? I could get myself out of all this trouble by shooting you in the face. But I've shown you mercy because you're just his bodyguard." His eyes widened in terror at the sight of the gun. "But if you dare to get in my way, I won't hesitate to pull the trigger. Do you understand what I'm saying?" He looked at Kim Jin rushing forward and ordered, "Get on the ground." The bodyguard obediently replied, "Okay." Having taken care of everything, he walked over to Jae-young, who was stunned, leaning against the wall, his voice trembling. He said, "You're crazy, firing a gun in the middle of Seoul. Have you lost your mind?" Kim Jin indifferently replied, "As you know, I'm an assassin, and also a father eager for revenge." Jae-young was silent, not knowing what to say. "I'll do anything to get what I want. You would do the same if you were me." He approached and slowly leaned down. "Okay, it's a bit stuffy in here. Let's go outside and get some fresh air." Kim Jin smirked. "I'll explain in detail how your son died. He gave you a death stare, and I'll show you where I tortured him. You'll love to see it." Kim Jin hoists Jae-young over his shoulder. He throws him into the waiting car. After that, Kim Jin gets in the car as well. He drives away, unfortunately for Kim Jin. The entire kidnapping was caught on the parking garage's security cameras. Cut to the police station. The clock on the wall is ticking. Okay, let's summarize the information we've gathered so far. On the board are Kim Jin's fake IDs. First, he used a fake name, Park Hyunbin, to rent a car. Second, he disappeared after his daughter's funeral. And there's a warrant out for his arrest on kidnapping and extortion charges, issued by Prosecutor Joe. Photos of the key figures in the case are pinned to the board, which begs the question, who did Kim Jin kidnap and extort? Han-chun speaks up. It must be Prosecutor Joe's son, Jo Youngmin. We don't have any evidence, but it's the most logical explanation. Lee Hyun agrees. Yes, it's just a hunch, but everything fits. He writes on the board. So we can deduce that the current chief prosecutor is trying to cover up his son's crimes, and he's gotten himself into this mess. Lee Hyun judges, out of the frying pan into the fire. He taps his pen on the board. Okay. Kim Jin's mother, Lee Soon-ja, was kidnapped by DD Group's thugs. Why do you think she was kidnapped? Park Min analyzes, based on the current situation. They might be using her as a hostage to exchange for Prosecutor Joe's son. Lee Hyun asks. Do we have any recordings of Lee Soon-ja's calls after she was kidnapped? Park Min scratches his head, confused. No, we don't. Lee Hyun urgently requested. Get an arrest warrant. Also, I want you to find the call logs between Prosecutor Joe and Im Haksu, who is now dead. They most likely collaborated to get Prosecutor Joe's son back. Park Min obeyed. Understood. Having given the orders, Lee Hyun continued, pointing to the board. Finally, he wrote next to Yongmin's photo. Kim Jin's mother was also killed, and Jo Yongmin is dead, though we still don't know if it was murder or just an accident. What do you think happened? Seo Young offered her thoughts. I'm not sure. Maybe we have to look closely at the details, but maybe things went wrong during the exchange. So both sides decided to kill the hostages. Lee Hyun frowned. I can't be sure, but that sounds plausible. He continued. Another problem is that, besides the hostages, 30 people from the DD group were also massacred. Everyone saw at the scene that this was the work of a professional. Lee Hyun circled Kim Jin's name on the board. If Kim Jin is really behind the massacre, then we're not dealing with an ordinary office worker. He turned and asked, Detective Choi, how far along is the background check on Kim Jin? Choi replied, We found that Kim Jin was a section chief at Black River Trading Limited. He was listed at a deserted office. But when we went there, it was empty and up for sale. I asked security what happened, and they said the company went bankrupt and cleared everything out the day before. Lee Hyun said, arms crossed. A troublemaker who closed up shop? That sounds fishy. Choi agreed. I thought so too. So I checked with the tax office to see if they reported the closure. And they did, citing financial difficulties. But the strange thing is, Choi hesitated, handing over a paper. The company owner is listed as Park Hyunbin. He was surprised. Park Hyunbin. Isn't that the name Kim Jin used to rent the car? Choi replied. That's right. Lee Hyun wondered, is this a shell company? Choi flipped through the file. I think so too. I looked at their financial records to see the cash flow. He held up the evidence. And for 7 years, they only traded with one military base. They received about $20,000 a month. Closing down for financial reasons doesn't make any sense. Lee Hyun mused. A military base? Which one? Choi answered. Unit 7425. Park Min speaks up. Isn't that the base the intelligence agency uses as a front? He sighs. Oh, really? Good job. Choi digs into the transaction. I looked up their tax ID and it's registered under the name SG Cultural Group. He turns. As you know, that's the alias the National Security Agency uses. CEO Young deduces. That means Black River Trading Limited is just a shell company run by the intelligence agency. So Kim Jin is an undercover agent? Lee Hyun remains silent. This case is getting more and more interesting. An undercover agent who lost his daughter and mother and is out for revenge. Han Chun suddenly raises his hand. There's something. He's curious. Even if he's an undercover agent, how could he single-handedly kill 30 gang members? Choi crossed his arms and reasoned. I'm not sure. But if he's an undercover agent who specializes in field operations, it's possible. Those people risk their lives to spy. So they're good at fighting and using weapons. They'd also have no trouble finding guns. Lee Hyun agreed. I agree, we shouldn't jump to conclusions, but I think we're on the right track. He looked at the board. We don't have enough people to investigate both the parents of the criminals and Kim Jin. I'll ask my superiors for more support. He stood up, hesitating. Sir. Seo Young raised her hand to her mouth, signaling. There's something I want to discuss with you. Let's go for a smoke. The dark night covered them. The two stood outside next to each other. He held a cigarette. Sir, are you sure this is going to be okay? Lee Hyun exhaled smoke. What do you mean? Seo Young turned to look. Investigating both the intelligence agency and the prosecutor's office. He's teasing. What's wrong? Are you scared? Seo Young, seriously. It's not that I'm scared, but the prosecutor's office always protects their own. If we mess with them and it goes nowhere, our department will be in big trouble. Lee Hyun, smoking. I understand your point. But if there's a case that needs to be solved, whether it's the intelligence agency, the prosecutor's office, or even the Blue House, we still have to do it, right? That's why we have a constitution. And that's why you and I get paid. Han Chun runs out from inside, shouting, Sir, we have a situation! He announces. We just received a call that Prosecutor Joe has been kidnapped, right in the parking lot of his apartment complex. They're both shocked. What? At a remote mountain. Kim Jin's car is parked at a deserted warehouse. On the table are a series of bloody torture devices. He picks up the drill. Kim Jin turns to face Jae-young. He grits his teeth. Worried about his fate? The following events will be even more intense. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Miss Manhwa channel so you don't miss the latest chapter.